Welcome, one and all to Friday. What is it? Friday, the 1st of May, Jez? We've made it, man. We're here. Yes? No? Maybe so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Friday,
You
we're
didn't know
here.
what to say. Are you too busy playing a game right now? Is this what's going on? Are you already
A little bit.
playing? What I tell you, this dude just jumps in. He's just playing a game. I'm sitting here, my dedication to the podcast, making it as good as it possibly can, and Jez is over here clicking buttons like what spell am I gonna run in World of Warcraft today?
Nah, that's not the case, bro. It's not the case.
Sure?
I'm here. Just slightly distracted from momentarily there, but we are here. It is Friday. It's May Day. It's May Day in Europe. Do you do the whole May Day thing
No.
in America?
No, I have no idea what even that is. What's May Day?
Like,
isn't that when when the plane's about to crash, people are like Mayday, or like a ship is
no. Like,
going.
Have you seen Midsummer, right?
Midsummer, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like that, where you sort of worship a tree and there's some,
so Europeans
kind of bullshit.
So you're saying the Europeans are worshiping a tree right now? Is that what May Day is?
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
okay.
Every European country does it a bit differently, but in Germany, like in Bavaria at least, they sort of like they have like what they call a May tree. In Britain, they're called a maypole, but in Germany, they're called a May tree. And you decorate a tree in the local village, and then other villagers, come and try and destroy your tree, bro. So it's a bit like an extraction shooter in a way. So like people from other villages are supposed to come and break down your tree. Is this
a real thing? You're not just like joshing me right now. It's making
no,
it
this is a real fucking thing.
So you go decorate some tree, and then other people come and try to destroy your tree. Like what?
It's like a battle royale.
And it's called May Day. This is like an unofficial type thing.
Okay. It's not called that in Germany. It's called May Day in England. In England, they decorate the tree and they just dance around it with like Morris dancers and shit. Like I don't fucking know. Like the movie The Wicker Man. If you've ever seen that.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a whole fucking thing, bro. It's a whole thing, bro.
All right.
Quaint little village traditions.
Yes. Well,
do you get like a bank holiday or anything for the 1st of May? No.
Bank holiday? No.
Like a Labor Day off?
No. Should we be taking today off for the podcast? Is this what you're saying? Me? Are you subtly telling me that you wanted the day off and we should have done the show on Monday?
Well, Germans have today off and Brits have Monday off, and I think Canadians do as well. So the Americans just have to go to work. GG, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. Yeah, May 1st. I don't think there's some holiday.
Oh, it sucks to be you guys, man.
I guess so. Well, that is Jez Corden, tree worshiper, apparently. Manager, Windows Central. I'm Randall Thor 19, man with the million. This is the XB2 podcast, and we are excited to be here with everybody, talking about everything that's happened in the gaming industry. So, yeah, do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, let everybody know that we are live. This is episode, what's the episode, Jez? 407, I believe?
407, yes.
407. Damn, so many episodes, so little time, huh?
Mm-hmm. So few May trees.
I'm like, what? May trees, unbelievable.
You've seen the movies, man. You've seen The Wicker Man. You've seen Midsummer. That's what it's about. It's about the maypole, bro. Respect it, or some witches will turn up at your house or something. I don't know.
I guess. Sure. Unbelievable. I don't even know what to say, but you were telling me earlier, because I wanted to get this right before we talk about anything substantial, that Diablo made you cry.
That is true.
Now,
that is absolutely true.
You might be the first person in the history of the world to cry during Diablo. I like cry. Not. I'm
I
sure
was
there's people out there
surprised.
that have cried because it's punishingly difficult on harder difficulties or whatever, and it's like it's so hard I can't beat it, and tears start falling down their cheeks or whatever. But
Maybe in
crying in the
hardcore mode.
sense of something emotional happening during the cinematics and the story stuff. So Diablo 4's expansion's out. Uh, what's it called? The
Lord of Hatred.
Lord of Hatred, which has to deal with Mephisto,
Yep.
and it's generally getting pretty good reviews. I think it's definitely rated higher than the first expansion, which was what, a couple years ago now at this point. I mean,
Yeah, something like
Diablo's
that.
what, 3 years old now, or almost 3 years
Yeah,
old.
it's crazy. It's
Um,
done pretty damn well, considering, I think. It's got a lot of flaws. The game's got a lot of flaws. Endgame had a lot of peaks and troughs, that kind of stuff. But the one thing that has been consistently like solid with Diablo has been the story delivery, I think. And the last expansion, Vessel of Hatred, didn't resonate with some people. And also, it was very much like a cliffhanger kind of ending because it was setting up the Lord of Hatred, the finale. And a lot of it was setting that up, I think.
so when you say
But
finale, does this mean like the last expansion for Diablo 4, or do
I
you mean
mean,
just of like
it
it's
might be.
essential like the story that it's
It's the
currently
end.
telling? Because usually
As
Diablo
far as we
games
know,
are
yeah,
like 10-year projects, right?
yeah, it's
Essentially.
true.
So we wouldn't be
Um,
expecting Diablo 5 until 2036.
I, yeah, well, yeah, I suppose so. But like, it's difficult to talk about it too much without getting into spoiler territory, and I definitely don't want to do that for people who haven't got there yet, because I think the story is a big part of it. But yeah, I mean, there's no other way of saying it. I thought the story was absolutely fantastic. A lot of shit happened I did not expect. A lot of very ballsy decisions from the cinematics team and the writing team. Controversial subject matters touched upon. It was very, very good, very mature. Um, I absolutely loved it, and it really defied my expectations. And yeah, man, I got emotional. I got choked up. I was like, damn, this is like it did feel a bit like the end of an era in a way, because that's kind of what the characters are going through. Um, so yeah, it's a fantastic, but I
So you're
won't spoil it for
so you're
those who
saying
haven't
this is
played it
like the
yet. It's brilliant.
culmination of the story that started in Diablo 4. So if you actually enjoyed the story, you should play the two expansions to kind of get it.
Yeah, definitely.
So you would compare it to
I
potentially like the Doom Eternal DLCs, where they basically finish the story out in
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably a good way of comparing it. Yeah,
it's like you
it's
don't
definitely
have to
like
play it to understand it because it's like whatever, but you get a deeper understanding. Because it's not required
no.
to.
I think you kind of do
You
actually. I
kind of
think
do, huh? Okay.
you kind. It's basically like it's. I suppose it's like the first Star Wars trilogy. You have to watch all of them. You know, you can't just watch one or two of them. Maybe you could just watch the first one by itself. And I suppose to some degree, like Diablo's the same. You could just play the base game, but the middle act it definitely was setting up the third act, and the payload, the payoff is huge and fantastic. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I would argue it's probably the best Diablo story they've told, and I man, I kind of hope there's gonna be more expansions coming before 5, because I can't even envisage what 5 will be like. But yeah, the story is fantastic.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
the end game's whatever. Like some people hate the end game, some people love the end game. Um, and that's always a controversial topic. Um, the state of the end game, right? And they have done. I haven't gotten too deep into the end game yet. They have done a ton of work on the end game. It's now got this like war plan system where you kind of set up activities you want to do, and then you go and execute them one after the other. It's kind of like pick your own poison kind of thing. It seems pretty cool. Like I haven't dabbled with it too much yet though, so I'm not going to comment too much on that because I am planning to do a full review of the game. I don't know how other people. I really felt like it's not fair to put a score on this without experiencing the end game, and you couldn't do that in the review build. So I was like, I'm gonna wait and experience the end game properly before we put a score on it. But like, coming out of the story, the finale, the ending, I'd give it a 10 out of 10 right now.
Oh, jeez, wow, strong words.
Fucking amazing.
Good score.
I was floored, man. I was floored. So yeah, very, very good story. But is the end game up to snuff? It's a big part of the game, so that could impact the score. We'll find out together. The new Warlock class also very, very fun, very powerful. Probably maybe overpowered, as tends to be the case with new classes, but very, very fun. Summon loads of demons. You can summon basically a raid boss. Huge monster spawns out of the ground and just kills everything. It's amazing. But it's obnoxious. It's probably, but it's a power fantasy kind of game, right? But yeah, everything I've experienced so far, I absolutely loved it. I'm buzzing, man. I'm buzzing.
Yeah.
Buzzing.
But for anybody wondering, 10 out of 10, you have to take in it's a Blizzard thing, so that's like a immediate like -2 for Jez score. So like normally it'd be like an 8.
Well, to be fair, I gave the Warcraft expansion 7 out of 10 in my review. So I like to think, even though I love Blizzard, I'm still a pretty harsh critic on them, I think. So I gave, a lot of outlets gave Midnight a much higher score than I did. So I don't know, take that for what you will.
I will take that for what I will. Well, I'm happy you enjoyed it, and the cinematics, which we know we do have some gameplay that you hear are showing off, and Blizzard cinematics, I will say, they can't be touched. There's nobody in the industry that is on their level when it comes to this stuff. Nobody. They are the cream of the crop. And I remember we talked about this in a couple of weeks because like Matt Booty was on the podcast and he talked about how the Blizzard cinematic team is helping out with Fable, which makes that sort of kind of was like pumped me up a bit because I'm not like I'm not like a Blizzard diehard like Jez. I enjoy their games. Like Diablo's fun for what it is. I wouldn't call I'm not craving the next Diablo or whatever. It was like, oh cool. Overwatch, it's all right. Not my thing, but I always appreciated all the little shorts they made for the Overwatch characters. I always really appreciate like the cinematics that they made for Diablo, and even though I've never played World of Warcraft, I have seen some cinematics they run for Warcraft and Starcraft and stuff, right? So it's like, they're the best of the best of the best. So it makes me wonder, like, oh, what are they doing? What are they doing in Fable? Are they helping out, or what are like Fable's cutscenes gonna look like? So that's exciting to
that's a huge asset to Microsoft, that cinematics team. I wonder, like, they should probably expand it, and like people always talk about how that team and their cinematics, like, it's not just like the quality of the graphics, it's like the direction is usually really great too.
The direction, the acting, I mean, it's all comes together. Which always is like, when I watch that stuff, sometimes just like with all those Overwatch shorts, it's like, man, they really missed it. Like, why isn't there an Overwatch TV show or movie? Why isn't there a Diablo TV show or, like movie or whatever? Like, these are things. Well, maybe there will be, because everybody loves to do TV shows and movies now, and for of gaming properties. But it definitely kind of seems like some of these things are kind of ripe for that storytelling in that format or whatever. Now, speaking of TV shows and movies, there is something I kind of wanted to bring up. I don't know if you've watched it yet, because normally you probably don't, but there has been a lot of discussion surrounding it. But have you seen the new trailer for Zach Krieger's Resident Evil?
Yes.
Okay.
Holy what?
Well,
that's kind of like my reaction was like, holy what?
See, okay, so it definitely seems like there's like two camps. There's the camp who's like, awesome, this looks so great, I'm a big fan of Weapons and Barbarian, just like just give me a horrific good time in the Resident Evil universe. And then there's other people who are like, what does this have to do with Resident Evil? Where's Leon? Where's Chris? Where's the Lickers? This isn't Resident Evil. What are we even doing? Seems to be this like clear line where it's like, what does this have to do with Resident Evil? Did you just stamp the name on it? And I kind of wanted to get your take on that. So, like, obviously from your reaction, you must really like the trailer. which I did too. Like, I watched the trailer and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this sounds
I
like it
tell you
might be
what.
awesome. But are you also one of those people that are like, what is it going to do with Resident Evil? Why is it snowing during RE2? You know, because apparently this takes place during the Raccoon City, like, RE2 stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind if it's not, canon. I think they pretty much said it's going to be its own thing, and
Yeah, well, the director even said, like, the stories of the games have been told countless times, and,
yeah.
he...
So
The director
yeah,
is, like, a big fan of the series. So...
that's why I'm not really freaking out about it. And there's a lot of examples as of late where um someone who really loved the IP took the IP and then made something really good out of it without necessarily adhering so directly to canonization or sequelization and that kind of stuff. Like the Joker movie comes to mind. We don't talk about the Joker sequel. I'm talking about specifically about the Joker
yeah.
movie.
I
Like
didn't
the
see the Joker
Joker,
sequel, so I have no idea what even happened in it, but yeah.
I have.
Oh, you poor
You don't
soul.
want to know.
You poor soul.
I was like, it can't be that. It was that
And it
bad.
was. It was. It's like, no, seriously, it really can't be that bad. Oh, but it was.
It was. It was that bad. So, I was. But yeah, I think there is clearly like they can tell something that's in the vein of Resident Evil, inspired by Resident Evil, if the director's good enough.
Which,
And then,
based on his previous 2 movies, right?
yeah, you would think so. So I think I'm pretty excited for it, to be honest. I mean, there is like the movies have their own fandom, like
Sure.
the old school movies,
And the
and
movies are
there
also
is
very kind of campy and I would
yeah.
argue not very good. Or at least the
Yes,
later ones, like
generally.
the first one with Mila Jovovich.
That was all right.
That was good. I mean, I enjoyed it for what
A
it
product of
was.
its time.
But like when you get into the other sequels, I mean, let's be honest. As much as I love Resident Evil, story's fucking absurd. You know what I mean? Like, come on, and I don't need the
Yeah.
story to be retold in a movie somewhere. I don't need Leon to be in this. And I mean,
No,
I don't know
I
how
don't either.
people reacted when Resident Evil 7 was, revealed and people were playing it. Like, what were the ties to the Resident Evil franchise at that point before Chris showing up and stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm
I was thinking of Resident Evil 7 too when I saw it. I was like, I think like what might happen is something similar to what happened in Resident Evil 7 where it sort of leads you into believing that it's actually separate or a reboot or something like that. And then like maybe towards the end it actually comes together and it's like, oh, actually it is kind of, some clever twist because the director's kind of known for that in a way. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing some kind of meta thing where they sort of like act like it's a separate thing and then actually it's not, but it is, but it isn't. So I'm just gonna keep an open mind. I think that people freaking out. I just give it a chance. It might surprise you.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of cool video gamey kind of projects right now, and I think IP holders like game studios, they've realized that like our shit has enough potential that we should put more money behind this and not just like give it a shitty throwaway license. Do you remember the director Uwe Boll?
Yeah, how could I forget? How could I forget Yui Ball?
Yeah.
Did
So
he
that's
do
kind of
like the Blood Rain movies and like did he do like a
yeah,
Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons movie or something?
He did a lot of video game
A lot of
movies, but
very very bad movies.
yeah. And I think like there was this whole thing where it was actually just all a tax scam or
Yeah,
something like that,
of
or a tax
course.
loophole they were exploiting.
Uh-huh.
But that's basically what video game IPs, how they were treated. They were just like, oh, let's just sell the license for what we can, and Hollywood will never take it seriously. But it's not like that anymore. Like Hollywood does take this shit seriously when they've seen like Minecraft, Mario, and a
Yeah.
lot of these other properties absolutely blow the fuck up. It's so I'm gonna choose to be optimistic about this one.
No, I mean I'm very looking forward to the movie. I mean I won't see it at the show. I don't go to the show, but I'll definitely check it out when there's a part of me that wonders like if the Resident Evil name will actually harm the movie with general audiences. would it have been better for them to call it something else? Because I guess you can make the argument that for general audiences even know what Resident Evil is, and when I say like about harming, like the Resident Evil movies weren't great. So it's like, do regular people when they see that trailer and they see Resident Evil, they'd be like, "Oh, what are
Assume it's
these?"
going to be a B
Yeah,
movie.
like and I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
the fans will turn out. They may complain about what is this got to do with like where's Leon and all. But I'm sure they'll tune out. But considering his previous two movies and how highly rated they are, like I'm expecting this to be pretty good. And that's what we need. Is we need like better video game movies and stuff. Uh, you know, to help turn top Hollywood or whatever, being like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. Let's do more of these things. 'Cause that's a way to grow the audience, which gaming is kind of struggling to do against the outside forces like TikTok and Roblox and those things. Like you gotta put your IPs in more people's. You gotta put it in front of more people's eyes. TVs and movies
Indeed.
are one of those ways to do that.
Indubitably.
But yeah. Anything else before we start the show, Jess? Anything else? Really?
The show hasn't started yet?
I mean, like when I mean that, I mean like starting after like you get into the big topics and the housekeeping and all that sort of stuff. Is there anything super small that happened to you this week or that?
Nope. I'm
no?
ready.
Nothing. Okay.
I'm all ready.
All right, so let's do some housekeeping. This episode is not brought to you by Surfshark, but we still have the deal with them. If you want to support us and protect your internet privacy, you can always go over to surfshark.net and you get an 86% off a 2-year deal. Pretty awesome. Jez loves them so much.
I do.
And we also have our wonderful Patreon members, which we're going to get to. The question and answers will be done at the end of the show, as always. Got some Xbox 2 MVP shoutouts here. We got Adam Bartolo, Alon Grogu, Asa T, and Madison, Battered Haddock, Bricks Country, Bright Hunter 1, Silas, Discarded Caboose, NX, Fantasticals, Glenn, Governor Grimm, I Mike Zero, Inner Machine, Jay Foley, James Moore, James Wiseau, Justin Duel, Just James 93, Katrox, Laserwolf, Murray, Pat Rock, Frosty, RS Donk, Sean Kramer, Shay, Elephant, Shrapnel, Trixar for Trey, Wagerman, and Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys for your continued support. You say somebody else joined the Patreon today? You were telling me earlier. I didn't.
Oh, it's someone who joined as a channel member.
Oh, a channel member and a Patreon.
Yeah.
Do you have the name?
So I thought that was cool. It should be on your channel member.
My YouTube keeps on crashing. Hold on,
I hate what YouTube's chat thing.
Shane's
needs
World
to be
25.
optimized,
Thank
man.
you, Shane's World. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, Shane's World.
Yeah, my YouTube chat keeps on crashing.
Yeah.
Briefly, we were talking about the movie. There is, I have this in the little notes here, only because of how much I love the first game, and I still can't believe we're getting a sequel. But did you see the trailer for Alien Isolation 2?
I didn't. I saw that there was one.
Yes.
Because I saw it in our system, but I haven't watched it myself yet.
I mean, it's very short. It doesn't show much. The only thing you can really get from it is that you're outside and it's raining. And I get the impression that you're on LV-426, but that can't possibly be right. Maybe it is, because, I mean, you do play in the first game as Sigourney Weaver's daughter. And I don't know if it's going to be like a direct continued sequel where you play as her or whatever. But, like, the idea of, like, visiting... I don't know. That's also kind of like the whole thing of alien colonial marines of like, oh, you're back on LV-426 and here's the thing from the alien movies and all that cool stuff, right? Unless it's just like you're on some, planet and you're outside in the same conditions as the movie was or whatever. And I'm just like, thank you for making a sequel, Creative Assembly. Because That movie got. I still remember. I think Ryan McCaffrey gave that game like a 5.5 out of 10. And
Mm.
I remember like reading the review and being like, Ryan, you crazy. And then I remember playing the game. I'm like, you're definitely nuts, Ryan. You know. And here we are this time late. I mean, Alien Isolation was what, 2015, I think. We're
Jeez,
10
that long
years,
ago?
I think so. I mean, I think it was early in the
Wow.
Xbox One generation. And I don't know
Doesn't
when we're
feel
going to
like
begin
it.
it. I don't know when. I mean, it's a really, really small teaser trailer. So obviously, probably not this year. Hopefully next year. But I mean, whatever year it is, that's one of my most anticipated games. I loved it. Did you play through Alien Isolation at all?
I didn't play through all of it, and you know, I'm kind of one of them where if it's a horror game, I really want a gun. So
Well,
I didn't. I
you
know you
can
get.
get a gun. You get like a flamethrower, and you do get guns. But yeah,
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I just the focus on hiding and that kind of stuff. I appreciate it from a artistic and technical perspective, but those kind of horror games are just not for me. Like there was one that came out recently. What was it called now? It was set on the moon, and it had absolutely insane, hyper realistic graphics. I can't remember what it was called. Oh, what was it called now? Ah, it's gonna piss me off. It was an Xbox announced it. Do you know what I'm talking about? It had like shaky cam realism and all that kind of stuff. And I was playing through it and I was like, this is like technically cool, but I don't know. I just get bored when I can't kill things. Uh,
yeah, that's like
often.
Outlast, right?
So
Where you
yeah,
did you
like
really like
Outlast, that kind of
Outlast because
style.
like for those horror games,
No,
you don't want to just run away. You want to be able to fight back with your chainsaws and stuff. But
yeah.
that's sort of
That's why
the
I loved it in I loved it in Resident Evil 9 because they really defy your expectations because like initially you're kind of playing Grace and she has to run away, she doesn't get a gun and all this kind of stuff.
well, I mean,
And
she gets a
then
gun,
and
but
then yeah, like the very very start I mean.
yeah,
And then like when I played the demo at Capcom HQ, it was the same thing, right? And they actually like I actually found like an ammo box underneath a cupboard and they didn't want me to include that in the preview because they wanted people to think it was going to be one of and call me what you will.
we would definitely call you a Philistine. I really like those games where you like you can't fight back, so you do have to. Like I loved Outlast and Outlast like 1 and 2. Though I do think Outlast 1 is better. You know,
Mm.
like the be like hey, I can't fight these people. If they get me, I'm dead. So it's about knowing the routes and making the right choices when right. Like I enjoy those games. So and I also felt like the best part of Resident Evil 9
Yeah.
was the parts where you play as Grace, where it
Yeah,
was
when she's got a
more.
gun.
Yeah, she got a gun, but but the difference between her and Leon stuff is Leon's got 10 guns. Leon's
Yeah,
got a
I did enjoy
shotgun.
Grace's bits
He's got
more.
a machine gun. He's got a sniper rifle. He's got a pistol. He's got grenades. Right, where Grace is like, just has
It feels like
basically.
Resident Evil when you're playing
Yeah,
Grace.
yeah. It feels like the beginning of Resident Evil 7, or maybe like
It
the
feels like Gears
beginning
of
of
War
Resident
when you're
Evil
playing
2
Leon.
when you're in the police station or whatever, where it's like very intimate and you don't got just like ammo coming out the wazoo, so you kind of got to make tactical choices about who you want to engage with, and there's zombies roaming around. Do you want to spend the ammo to kill them, or are you just gonna run past them because you want to save your
I think that was
resources and
way better.
stuff? What?
I enjoyed that way more. The Grace bits.
I mean, yeah. I
I
mean,
think like
yeah, for
the
sure.
Leon bits were cool, but it's just I felt I did feel a bit disengaged. He was way overpowered. I kind of felt like I wasn't like all the fear factor was kind of washed away when you're playing as Leon.
Sure, but I think that's
Like
also kind of the point. It's like the power fantasy.
yeah, it was intentional. It's fine. I
Yeah.
just wish it was a different game. I don't know. Um Also, someone in chat mentioned the game I was grasping at. Routine.
Oh, okay, routine. Yeah, that's on my list to play.
Like you might if you liked Alien Isolation, you might like it. It's like Alien Isolation but more robots. I know Alien Isolation had the androids, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
it's a similar kind of oh, have we got audio issues on the stream?
Do we?
Oh, do we? Disconnected? Some people said. Are we
Uh,
back? Are we back, chat? Audio is working fine on my side. I think we glitched out for a second
it
there or
says
something.
yeah. It says stream is disconnected. Attempt to reconnect 3 minutes ago. I
Oh,
guess
okay.
like
Sorry about that.
refresh your browsers. I guess.
Well, they won't be able to hear you say that.
What people? What people can't hear us right now?
People can now, yeah. But
Oh right.
yeah.
Yeah. No.
All
There's
right,
a
so we're all good.
notification that
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
it
we're
did
we're back to
disconnect.
we're back to me, sorry.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, the game I was trying to talk about is routine, and routine's kind of like, uh, I don't know how to describe it. It's like Alien Isolation, like hyper realistic, all that kind of stuff. But again, I wasn't a big fan. I was just kind of like, I want to be able to kill lots of things very very quickly, or at least be able to fight back. But I don't like it too actiony.
Hmm.
So basically, I'm a huge diva, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
basically
want
it.
it your way. So you when you play Gear Z Day, you'll be like, "Oh my god, it's so amazing! All this action!" And then we'll just remember, like, Jez said he doesn't like things too actiony though. But now he's fallen
Yeah,
over
but it's an action
himself.
game. That's an action game.
Well, I
So it's
mean,
okay.
some would argue Resident Evil is an action game too, action horror.
Mm, Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 on.
Sure,
See,
sure.
see, I bounced off. I see. This is the weird thing. I bounced off 4, man. I didn't enjoy 4, which I know is like absolutely not the popular opinion. I remember playing 4 and being like, "What the hell is this?"
You have
Fucking
some weird tastes, you know.
yeah, I know. And 5 was just like, nah, mate. This franchise is done. So I think even Resident Evil has limits on how much action they can put in.
Right.
You know.
We did
Yeah.
we got a couple announcements for games releasing at the end of the year. Now fall's starting to look a little crowded, right? Cuz we know GTA is coming November 19th, and I think they've Take-Two and they said the marketing is going to be starting shortly. I know they got
Mm.
their earnings report coming up soon cuz we'll be talking about Microsoft's and stuff, and they got their earnings report coming up. I wouldn't be surprised if a trailer for GTA drops around that or after it, soon after it, because I mean, the game's coming out in essentially what 6 months, so that they got to start the marketing at some point. But as we've kind of heard people in the industry say, they're going to avoid GTA at all costs and give it a wide berth. Well, we did get
Mhm.
2 announcements this week of games coming uh, later in the year, and you could definitely tell like avoiding GTA. Star Wars Galactic Racer is releasing October 6th,
Mhm.
which I'm not the biggest fan of the prequels and pod racing and all that sort of stuff, right? I always sort of
Now
cringe when that
this is
stuff comes
pod
up.
racing.
Whatever. But watching the trailers and seeing the stuff, like, I
Looks
don't
pretty
know.
good.
It kind of gives me, and this is probably maybe people don't feel the same way. It's done. I think it's being made by Criterion, but part of me kind of gets like a little burnout vibes a little bit with how fast the vehicles are moving, or like split
Hmm.
second vibes where I'm watching it and I'm like, that could be a lot of fun. Like, yeah, you're going to have Forza Horizon 6 comes out this year. And, it's going to be the Forza that everybody expects. And it's going to play the same because it's such a big franchise now, biggest racing franchise in the world. Right? But there is that you go back a couple generations and there are a lot of different types of racing games that would come out. You'd have your arcade racers, you'd have your simulation racers, you'd have like all different types for many different type of gamers. And some people like me were very much into kind of arcade racers rather than sims. And like I didn't like sim racers. I didn't like Gran Turismo, and I didn't really care for Forza Motorsport or any of like the ones where it was like, yeah, I'm gonna run circles around this donut track until I get the best lap time, and I'm gonna change the pressure in my tires, and go look at my carburetor and tune it a little bit so I can get like a 0.2 second better. Like that sim stuff. I never was a fan, but I was always a fan of like Burnout Paradise or like Burnout 3, Split Second, Like games where like speed came through the screen. And I feel like we've lost that. Like even like the other like the Need for Speeds, like we don't really get a lot of racing games anymore. And I don't know if that's just a byproduct of Forza Horizon just dominating the genre, or if that's just a byproduct of like the gaming industry in general, where racing games aren't as profitable anymore, so they're not going to make them. And you can't really do anything different because you know what, like I don't know what it was like, because we used to get a lot of different types of racing games and now we hardly get. It's kind of just like it's like just one type really. It's like we might get one.
It has to be the Forza effect, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason is, and I love Forza as much as the next guy, but I do miss like the super fast arcadey racers, like with the drifts and stuff. So there's a part of me that watches the Galactic Racer trailers and I'm just like, I do love Star Wars, but I'm not the biggest fan of the prequels, and I don't really care about pod racing, but watching the racing in it, I'm just like, man, it's kind of scratching an itch for me. We'll see what happens, because like I have a feeling the fall's going to be packed before GTA, right? Whereas like I may not have time to play Galactic Racer because we already know Wolverine's releasing like September 15th, Phantom Blade Zero's releasing like the week before that, I think on like the 8th or whatever. And now the week before that, on September 3rd, we have Blood of the Dawnwalker, which is like the vampire game from like the XCD-PR guys. Maybe the next big RPG. So it's like you have potentially three big games in a row. Blood of the Dawnwalker, Phantom Blade Zero, Wolverine. Not to mention, Xbox still has to date Gears E-Day and Halo and potentially Fable and Modern Warfare 4. So you could have the month of September being like big release week after week after week. It could look like that, where it's Blood of the Dawnwalker on the 3rd, and then Phantom Blade Zero on the 8th, and then Wolverine on the 15th, and then Gears E-Day on the 22nd, and then like Galactic Racer on the 6th, potentially Fable on whatever, beginning of October, Modern Warfare 4 somewhere in there, not to mention other games, where you're just bombarded because they want to get all their games out before GTA comes out, So, it's...
Should I check that game out, Summer Game Fest? Galactic Racer?
Yeah, check it out, for sure. See if it's any good.
Check it out.
I don't know, I mean, I have this feeling that you're not really big on racing games, though.
No, I'm not.
I mean, but you are big on Star Wars.
I was.
You was.
These things kind of fucked it.
Yeah.
I used to be. I used to love Star Wars. And I was like, I was a prequel kid. I grew up with the prequels, so
Disgusting.
I grew up with the
Disgusting.
Yeah, I grew up with the prequels. I grew up with Clone Wars. I loved all that shit.
So you should love Galactic Racing, pod racing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So I wanted to get your. So I saw this, but I wasn't sure what it was, and I figured like you're the person to ask for this. So Xbox launched the Xbox.
Wait. Before we do that, shouldn't we clear some super chats because there's quite a few.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna get to that after this because I feel like this is gonna be short anyway. So Xbox launched the Game Package Manager. What's that, Jez?
Oh, don't ask me about
Don't
that.
ask you. It's something to do with publishing games on Xbox easier or something like that, or getting their games running on Xbox better. Something.
Yeah, I think essentially what it is it's a more efficient way of handling all the different versions of a game within the Microsoft backend. Because at the minute, if you've got like an Xbox Play Anywhere game, it can be quite convoluted, from what I understand, to have all the same kind of code and the versions running. Because it's what runs on PC doesn't necessarily run on Xbox, and vice versa, and all that kind of thing. And with ahead of Helix, because we know that the Xbox Series S and X is still going to be a thing, probably many years into Helix's life cycle, purely because of the way the industry's gone with costs and that kind of thing. I mean,
you're robbing
saw
me
recently,
of the next gen thrill, though, Jez.
Next gen thrill. But I mean, we all saw how many people are still playing GTA on PS4 and Xbox One. There's like
Quite a
still a
bit.
lot of people.
It's like
So
almost basically 3 million or whatever it is. It was like 1.8 to 1
yes,
million. Yeah. Oh,
a
a lot
lot
of
of
people.
a lot of people. So it's with that in mind that you kind of need an efficient system to handle all the different versions and purchasing rights across all the different platforms. And I think that's essentially what it kind of is.
Mhm.
And just to dovetail on that, Chris Charlotte and Jason Ronald are actually going to be giving some kind of talk
Yeah,
soon
next week, right?
about
Next week, I think it is.
next week.
They even
Yeah,
given
yeah,
some
yeah.
details about Helix, if I'm not mistaken about it.
Yeah, so it does seem like it's going to be focused to devs, so it
Mm-hmm.
probably won't be super exciting for regular humans.
Well,
But
regular humans.
yeah, regular
Yes.
humans who don't understand any of that shit, like me.
Uh huh.
But I think
But you'll be
it's
covering it because it's news.
yeah, I'll be covering it. It's getting pretty exciting, like with all the stuff that's popping off there, you know.
All right. Let's see here. We got a super chat here from the Tyrant007. It says, "Do you know anything about the Helix operating system? How similar it is to Windows 11? Does it still use the Hyper-V? Does it use Core PC for better update experience?" I mean, I don't know, Jez.
I mean, I'm not. The juries are kind of out on this at the minute. Like previously, I think I wrote that I expected it to just be what we get on the Xbox Ally, essentially, which is the Xbox mode, full Windows, and then you're kind of locked into the Xbox Ally experience, and then you can exit out into the desktop if you want to do tinkering and that kind of stuff. But increasingly, I think like it's probably going to be even more curated than that, and I think like what we kind of get on the Xbox Ally today is probably not exactly it's probably not accurate, I would say. So, but I honestly not sure. It's kind of one of them. Like we're still like investigating, still trying to work out like how all that shit's gonna go down. Um, I suppose the real answer is just wait and see, man.
Yeah. Shane's work also gave us a super chat with just thumbs up. Appreciate you. Banana Peel Jack says, "I played through Lord of Terror and it was spectacular. I'm stuck with Sorcerer and never play else, but the art and audio team seriously cooked." Yes.
Yeah, like I'm playing Warlock for the review, but I do feel like I'm betraying my Necromancer. Like everyone's got a main, and mine's a Necromancer for this. But Warlock is fun, man. It's really, really fun. I do wonder if they're gonna just because they added like this expansion technically has two new classes, Warlock and Paladin. But they released Paladin early around Christmas as a pre-order bonus. So part of me wonders like, are there even more classes they're gonna add and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We got super chat here from Mr. Wagerman. It's good to see you. He says, "Good afternoon, gents. Epic week coming up, just over a month away. What can Xbox do to set us up for success? Hardware-wise, for the GTA 6 launch, price drop, bundles, etc." I mean, I think we've talked about this before about Xbox's plans and what they could do to capitalize on GTA 6 hype and the people from previous generation moving over. And as we saw from the leak, there's still like a million people that play GTA 5 on Xbox One. Presumably, you would imagine those people don't own a next gen console, right? And there's like 1.8 million who still play it on PS4, and you would think they don't own a PS5. So there's definitely an opportunity to move those people to your ecosystem where then they would, buy your subscriptions, buy games for your store, which you would get 30% and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But with Xbox kind of with its hardware, it's been where there's been at least under Phil, at least the last couple years, a deprioritization of hardware,
Yes.
where it was basically like, yeah, get it if you want, yeah, whatever. We're raising the price of the console twice to $650. And we've seen that reflected in their hardware revenue, which, we'll talk about during the Xbox financials, but like every quarter, it's like you see their results and it's like down 30% again. And it's like, well, you kind of reap what you sow in that regard. Like you made the console not mandatory and basically said, hey, you can play Xbox anywhere. And people heard you and were like, okay, well, I don't need the console anymore. And so they're not, nobody's buying it, and Xbox really isn't making that many units. But here you have the game, that the most anticipated game ever, and you'd hope that Xbox would want to capitalize on it, because certainly Sony will. They probably paid out of their nose for the marketing deal for them, and it will sell PlayStations. But you would figure also it would sell Xbox. I mean, because they probably have the cheapest console to play it on with the Series S. And so, like, what do you do to maximize it? Maybe Asha has a plan. Maybe there's nothing they can do because it's too close, and it's like they can't spin up. Or maybe they can order extra systems or whatever. Or maybe you need to restart your marketing campaign about like Xbox in general. What do you think, Jez? Like, what would, if you were to counsel Matt Booty and Asha, if they came to you and asked, hey, what can we do to capitalize on GTA 6 momentum? What would you say to them? Like, how would you be like, well, you need to do X, Y, and Z? What would your advice be?
It'd be nice if there was stock to start with.
Well, obviously, you need stock. You need stock, yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a physical Xbox in the wild in Germany where I live. I don't think I've ever seen one. I mean, granted, I live in the middle of nowhere, but I've seen the other systems. I don't think I've ever seen a Series S or a Series X physically in my region, which is problematic. So, like, I suppose that'd be the first step. But I tell you what, like, answering the question directly, the vibe I get is that Microsoft doesn't think it will move the needle. That's the vibe I get,
For them or just in
I
general?
I think for GTA in general, I think they think for them, like, it's not, GTA alone isn't gonna solve anything. I don't know if they've got a hardware plan or they've still just resigned themselves to the trend, which is Roblox kids and iPadification of gaming. That's kind of the big existential trend that Microsoft has resigned itself to, and to some degree has leaned into. So arguably made things worse by leaning into it, I would say. Like, in a capitalist society and system, I feel like you've got to compete for those users. You got to show them why, like, trying something different from Roblox might be a cool idea. So every now and then, maybe it wouldn't work, but isn't the whole point of capitalism to try and compete? That's what, and Microsoft spent so many of its years kind of acquiring into industries instead of competing directly. So maybe they've forgotten how to compete. I don't know. But yeah, that's the vibe I get genuinely, is that they don't think it's going to be necessarily a big thing for Xbox. That's the vibe I get.
It's funny because I think it'll be a big thing for PlayStation. But
it probably.
But that's also like kind of like, I don't know. I feel like some of the self-defeating things that Xbox was running, like, the whole, when Phil was out there being like, Starfield could be an 11 out of 10 and it wouldn't change anything, which is like, sure, one game doesn't change anything, but like a whole bunch of games like Starfield 11 out of 10s, if you had a whole string of them, maybe they would. But it always felt to me like it was kind of just being like, it was a self prophetic thing. Like, oh, it's not going to change anything, but then like you sort of like stop production, or you kind of ramp production down, so there aren't that many anyways, and then you see the numbers go down. It's like, see, I told you it wasn't going to do anything, but you sort of like make your own success in this sense. You kind of make your own failure. So
yeah,
I mean,
is it possible?
Is it possible GTA 6 doesn't light the world on fire, like, for Xbox or in general? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make the argument that we're what are we 6 years into the generation when it would release. There's already, you know, by the time probably 90 million plus, if not approaching 100 million PlayStation 5s out there. And you'd argue, well, how many more people? And the console's even more expensive. So maybe all the people that really want GTA already own a console. You know, Xbox is, depending on who you ask, anywhere between 25 million and 45 million, but probably somewhere in the 30s. So is it possible it doesn't do much and just sells to the existing audience? You know, outside of a really probably big hardware bump that'll happen because those people on PS4 and Xbox One need a new system. Yeah, I guess you could make that argument. But also, you know, like if you're running
Well,
like
well, this is the thing about what I said, is that like the defeatist attitude. I'm wondering if that's like the vibe that I get from my sources. Is that the defeatist attitude from the old regime, and like is Asha gonna bring a different kind of thing? Because a different kind of energy to the situation. Do they actually? Will she have a plan? Like she's dealing with a lot of stuff right now, and a lot of immediate stuff. Game Pass and the rest of it. Like, do they actually have a plan for this for GTA? Is it on a radar? That kind of thing. Um, it could be, and maybe I'm like speaking too soon, but it's just the vibe that I was getting. Like the same kind of, there's nothing we can do to save hardware kind of vibe.
I mean,
And maybe there isn't, but I think you should probably try. But
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you would hope so, but maybe they've like the bed's made and they have to lie with it specifically for this, and there's nothing they can do in the short time frame to change anything by the time GTA comes out. Where it's just like,
yeah,
well,
I mean,
can't do much now. It's like we've set the ship. You know, it's like the Titanic. It's like you see the iceberg approaching, but you're a little too late turning the
yeah.
wheel and reversing course, and it's just like you're still gonna glance it, right? No matter what you did.
She talks a lot about hardware.
She
She
does.
talks a lot about hardware, but it's just like, is that more for Helix in the future?
She talks a
And
lot about
is it
hardware,
just
but then she's kind of not only like the thing that I like about her is like she's talking, but she seems to be backing it up with at least actions. Like I don't know how her reign will be, received or remembered in the future, but she did say, "Hey, console's a priority for us." And what have we seen but updates on the console consistently? Like
Mm,
things that we never thought would happen have sort of happened, or at least begun to happen. Like there was another update just the other day, and it really seems console focused. So it's like at least for that, she is basically stuck to her word. It definitely seems there, at least eternally, there definitely seems to be more of a focus on improving the console experience. Which, hey, I'm a console guy, so that's great for me because I do, the console experience has sort of stagnated the last couple years because they didn't seem to care. They were focused on other things, their other priorities. But you get all these updates and stuff for it, and I'm not saying like the PC stuff isn't, like a factor or like isn't important because it is, because Helix is going to be that bridge between the two, and that shit better work 100% right, because because I think I saw some of your they have like an Xbox Ally update, right? Or whatever.
yeah.
And I saw MVG respond, and I saw you kind of talking back and forth with MVG, and he was like, some of these things shouldn't even be on there, and you were like, specifically what stuff? And he was just like, Microsoft Outlook or Microsoft Teams, all this sort of stuff. This should not be in a gaming device, and you're like, yeah. And that's the sort of stuff that I think about with Helix, where it's like, Dad, like, am I gonna get Helix and hook it up, and Microsoft Teams gonna be pre-installed in there? And at that point, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, this is why, like, when the other question about what kind of operating system it's going to be like none of that shit can be on there. None of that shit can be on there. And like, if that's the idea, to get rid of all that stuff, then the out of box experience needs to be different. But it does seem like, because the way Windows works, it's got this sort of like they call it the OOBE, out of box experience, and the out of box experience right now comes with a bunch of pre-installed shit on it, like Teams, And it's kind of funny that MVG was like, oh, like I don't, because when he said like services, I was thinking like he was going to say, I don't want the Xbox app on there, you know.
Right, right,
And I was
right.
just kind of thinking like, well, you know, it's kind of an Xbox device, isn't it? But he didn't say that. He was talking about like Teams and stuff like that. But it's kind of funny though because I have actually used my Ally for work. You know? When I took it with me like on trips and stuff because it's much lighter than my laptop, and you can plug a keyboard in, and I've got a kickstand case on it, and it's like, yeah, I actually do want Outlook on my Xbox Ally, but would I want Outlook on my Xbox console beneath the TV? Absolutely not. You know,
Yes.
that's
So
like,
that's the thing. Like I'm thinking about, like, well, I'm probably gonna get Helix more than likely, and I wanted to basically just, run like a console, but like, will it? And it's like, yeah, it's great that they're really focusing on console. I mean, she even said it like there's gonna have bi-weekly updates for it. They just dropped the wallpapers with the logos. I mean, that doesn't. I mean, the logo stuff is cool, like, but it's not important. It's not. It's like, it's something cool to do. The fans asked for it, and like, here's the thing.
yeah.
So they have like 4 iterations of it, and it's like, oh, that's great. But I'm talking about like the updates behind the scenes, like the little updates to the achievements, the little other updates that they did that they've focused on. And if you're doing bi-weekly updates for the console, it's like, okay, so there's something there for them that they see. Like, we need to double down on this for whatever reason, which is at least exciting for someone who plays on console like myself. Yeah, well, because since we're talking about Asha, we can dive into like the financials, and like Xbox financials for this past quarter weren't exactly the greatest, which is kind of, I feel like we say that often, right? So their quarter 3 2026 financial earnings, gaming revenue was down 7%, Xbox content and services revenue was down 5%, and Xbox hardware revenue was down 33%. Which, the hardware revenue, it is what it is at this point. If they made that bed, they're gonna have to sleep in it. I don't know like how you change that, where you get people to want to buy your hardware. But it's something they have to fix. Now, remember, they like the Xbox content and services revenue, like, because remember when their hardware originally kind of started to decline, they said what you should judge us on is Xbox content and services revenue, users. Right? Well, and that and the users, but like the Xbox content and services and revenue is down, so it's like, but that's originally what they said like you should judge us on, and like, well, that's down. And then Asha came out and said, which, you talk about transparency, or you never really saw like Phil or anybody at Microsoft come out and say this about Xbox, but she came out and said Xbox earnings today, while we have made progress expanding the business and our margins, player and revenue growth has not yet met our ambition. We know we have work to do to earn every player today and into the future. And I was kind of like, damn, like, you never really have someone that, at least I can't remember any, like, I don't remember Phil ever saying that. Maybe he did in the past. Basically being like, yeah, we're not where we want to be. Where it kind of seemed in the past like, oh, at least to me sometimes, like, they would kind of sweep things under the rug and they wouldn't really mention the bad aspects of certain choices they've made or certain decisions they enacted. And here, but then I also wonder, is like this all like sometimes with what she's doing and how she's running the show, sometimes like, is this too good to be true? Like, is she really this transparent and open? I mean, she basically came out and said we ain't shit, right? I mean, I don't know. I find that refreshing to an extent, where you have someone out there who's like, hey, yeah, here's what we did, but players and revenue, we haven't hit what we wanted to hit yet. And it's like, okay. And then Satya in the earnings call said that what did they say? Like, game streaming hit a milestone, and I think like
they said that record game streaming hours and record monthly active users.
Yeah.
But like, apparently Someone said like Candy Crush had a massive expansion or something. So
There you go.
I don't know anything about Candy Crush. Apparently there was a big Candy Crush thing going on, like so maybe that's part of it. But
Sure, could be.
um, it's monthly active users. Like if your users are going up but your revenue's going down, that's kind of not where you want to be, I would think. Is Call of Duty really like that much of a cash cow that in an off year it's going to drag the whole division down
I mean,
from a visibility
considering
perspective?
how much it was down, like reported 60 to 70%. Yeah,
It's
at
crazy.
least when you compare it from one quarter to the other quarter. Now, also like you got to wonder, okay, did Xbox release last year in January, February, March, and that would be Avowed, which came out in February, and that would be South of Midnight. But it's like I don't think either of those two games were barn burners. Like they didn't set the world on fire. I'm trying
No.
to think. Did the PlayStation version of Forza Horizon 5 hit? Because that could be, hold on. Forza Horizon 5 PS5 release date. I want to say that was like in April though. Oh yeah, it was in April. So like because you compare the quarters, so like Xbox did release two first party games, although neither of them I would classify as like big. Um, and Xbox didn't release anything from first party for January, February, and March. Uh, so like, what are you really comparing? Is like, well, the Call of Duty microtransactions and sales, but like if you're already starting down, so that would definitely severely affect it. And yeah, they're already projecting next quarter to be down 10% because while Xbox has Kiln and Forza Horizon 6 launch, which Forza Horizon 6 is going to be massive, when you compare it to last year's at same quarter, you're talking about the Forza Horizon 5 release on PlayStation, which did well, the Indiana Jones release on PlayStation, which did okay. You're talking about the Doom release on all platforms, the Oblivion release on all platforms, which did extraordinarily well. And that's just off the top of my head. So, yeah, I could see why they're projecting, next quarter to be down even more because it just doesn't line up that great. And
It's
it's
a hit.
just
At the end of the day, it's a hit-driven business, and
sure,
it's like every one of the publishers, like they're gonna have a quarter where they're down if they don't release anything. Like that's the way it's
sure,
always been in the
absolutely.
gaming industry.
Well,
It's just that, like,
with a platform holder though, like a third party
yeah,
games
yeah,
can
that's what I
also
was gonna
like,
say.
hey, they don't have to release the game, but like a big third party game could come out and really be like, oh, make the money that way, right?
I do wonder, like, if Call of Duty being down, like, probably gonna negatively impact PlayStation as well, right? But it could positively impact Nintendo Switch if it gets the release for the first time next quarter. It's kind of a weird business, and I think like the problem with the fact that gaming is tech adjacent, like tech stocks are always like this. Everything's got to go up all the time, and they don't understand the concept of like, oh well, we didn't release any games this quarter, and it's like, oh well, why didn't you release any games? It's like, well, they weren't ready, mate. What the fuck, you know? And like, well, make them ready faster then. And what can you do really? Um, I suppose like this is one of the pitfalls of trying to do an annualized Call of Duty, and it's getting harder and harder. It seems to make games fast and good at the same time. Like a lot of games have come out and had huge amounts of polish issues because they were rushed. But if you bump them a quarter, then you're gonna make the shareholders really sad. So, what do you do, Rand? Do you delay the game, make the shareholders sad, or do you release the game and then,
Make them happy, but then
hope
make them
that,
sad because it
well,
doesn't do what it was
you
supposed to do.
maybe you sell a few units like Cyberpunk sold really well, even though it was a buggy mess.
I mean,
And
yeah. I mean, I think it sold something like 12 million or whatever it was.
so
So
yeah, and shareholders would be like, well, can't you just do what Cyberpunk did? Do a marketing blitzkrieg and then release a buggy game and hope for the best. I don't know, man.
So what do you think about Asha and how she's approaching the transparency and the updates to consoles and stuff? Like,
I'm cynical, man. I'm
I knew
pretty
it.
cynical.
Yeah,
I I really a lot of the stuff that's been going on comes from Satya at the end of the day. It's
sure.
not necessarily Asha in my view. You know, like the Satya, like one of the other things Satya was talking about in the investment thing was we need to win back Xbox and Windows customers and fans, you know. So this is like
Nobody's a fan of Windows. There's no such thing. There's Xbox fans, but there's no Windows
well,
fans.
you would be very surprised, young sir.
I don't think
You would
there's
be
a such thing as a Windows fan.
you would be shocked
I
about
would be,
this.
because who is a fan
You
of
would be shocked.
Windows?
There are Windows fans. I
Really?
know from
Like
working on a Windows Central website.
legitimate Windows fans like sit there and be like,
Yeah,
man, fuck
yeah,
Linux, Windows all day, every
dude.
day.
Zach Bowden's build videos on YouTube almost often get 100,000 hits every single time he does them. You know, they're like, but you know,
So
I think
you're saying
I don't think he used the word fan. I think he used users. But
okay.
the sentiment is the sentiment stands, right? Windows has lost quality. Xbox has lost quality. Xbox and Windows both have done things that piss off their user base and created headlines pissing off their user base. So this whole initiative it comes from Satya from the top down. So as much as like I like Asha, I think Asha's like going to do a good job. She's
Mm-hmm.
still managing Satya and what Satya wants
Okay.
ultimately. Satya's whims could change on a dime
Sure.
like that, and Satya's shown a huge amount of fickleness over the course of his tenure as Microsoft CEO. Yes, he's grown the stock price an absurd amount. I think like hundreds of percent. Satya has grown the stock price, right? And people will often point to that as, you know, as a definitive example of the success under Satya. So it's hard to deny that. At the end of the day, publicly traded company, the whole point of them is to, um, you know, make money for the shareholders. And Satya has done that. Satya has done that. But it's come at the cost of quality. And it's not just like, it's not just Windows, it's not just Xbox, but like GitHub. Like there was this whole thing with GitHub, like Microsoft purchased GitHub, and you know the community around GitHub are really pissed off, and they're saying Microsoft's ruining it. It's up and down like a yo-yo now. It's become really unreliable, and like some very famous GitHub staples, and they're all talking about pulling out of GitHub, and you know the GitHub chief uh the CCO. I don't know what his job title is exactly, but he was like issuing groveling apologies as well on Twitter this week, you know. So it's like the whole thing across the whole Microsoft stack, like he's suffering in quality. But the share price is up, so okay. But it feels like they've kind of hit the limits of what they can do, what they can get away with overlooking quality, overlooking feedback, and they've spent a long time doing that. And I kind of feel like there'll be a point where if Satya is still in charge, there'll be a point where they're like, okay, the fans are happy enough, let's price gouge them again. You know? And it would just go back through this kind of cycle. So it's hard for me to like look at this without some degree of cynicism, you know, and just being like, there's a fundamental flaw within Microsoft as an entity, and it's just been this sort of like prioritization of I don't know quantity over quality at the end of the day. So Asher's job, I suppose, one of the things Asher needs to prove to me to break my cynicism is to convince Microsoft to maintain the course over a long period of time.
Sure. I mean, I agree with you there that Microsoft, or at least Xboxes, changed their goals quite often,
Yeah,
quite regularly, and
some very
yeah,
some very basic updates to the Xbox Series X ain't gonna impress me.
Okay,
Like
fair. Yeah,
they
yeah.
changed the branding. It's not
Well,
gonna impress
in the
me.
grand scheme of things, absolutely, I'd agree with you, 100%. Right? Like some updates to this to the Series X for a year, while in a vacuum is cool. Overall, yeah, that doesn't really do much for the future of the brand or whatever. I'd agree with you on that.
I hate
Absolutely.
it. I hate it because I want to feel positive. I want to feel like how I did back in the day. I want to feel all that again, like that sort of naivete, I suppose you could say. I remember like when Phil announced backwards compatibility, it was like, this is absolutely huge. This does, I kind of feel like Xbox backwards compatibility was a really great example of something that was fan service. It doesn't do much for Microsoft, to let people play games they already own. They're not selling. I mean, to some degree, they'll sell a few, but like, it's also like the investment that they put forward to make Xbox backwards compatibility work. They're not going to get a huge return on that investment. They've not really done a fat lot to market it as a unique selling point of the hardware ecosystem. So we just kind of like, I want to see stuff like that. Stuff that fans want, that isn't necessarily going to directly benefit them in a huge way, but something that will
So
make people look and say, well, actually, Xbox does care. But I
so
don't know
what
what
is the
that
big
looks
thing?
like.
What
I
is the
don't know what
big
it
thing
looks
that
like.
fans want, in your opinion?
Well, exclusive games, bro. Like exclusive games, like, and this is the big contentious thing, isn't it? It's like it's the big topic, it's the big thing that we often keep coming back to, and it's the thing that
Well, it's kind of because it constantly comes up. They've talked about it
has
repeatedly.
it has huge consequences in both directions.
Yeah.
Like I sit there thinking of the math, and like giving up all those sales on other platforms, that is kind of like, that is tough to square away on a spreadsheet. But at the same time, it's like it's a gesture that they're gonna compete long term and fight for those users and being like, look, if you want to play the games we invest in, you have to come over to this ecosystem, and we're gonna subsidize that and see what happens. Um, so, but again, it's like that's a lot of money to leave on the table. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of risk, and we can
Well, yeah.
debate back and
That's.
forth about putting
I, gue-
genies back in bottles all day. Like,
I mean,
but that's the kind of gesture I think.
we could talk about it because, like, you mentioned like, because it's weird. I don't know. I feel like you've changed your opinions multiple times already under Asha. Like, you were excited and optimistic, and now you're back to being pessimistic. It's weird. You
No,
changing.
no, no. I haven't changed. Like, if you read my articles, like I wrote an article like 3 weeks ago. Like, I've been consistent in saying that the tough decisions are still to come
Sure.
for Asha,
Okay. Yeah.
and like it's there's nothing negative here, necessarily. It's kind of like, I think um the thing she's doing is very good, and her head is in the right place. It's not Asha that I'm cynical about. It's Satya. It's Microsoft that I'm cynical about, because I've watched them flip flop on Xbox and Windows and other parts of the business where they're like, okay, we don't need this to be good quality. We can get away with the shitty quality. And I've watched them flip flop, and then I've watched Satya flip flop on the metaverse and flip flop on AI integrations and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's not Asha that I'm cynical towards. It's Satya and how Satya runs the business, which I think is frankly chaotic and inconsistent. And can does Asha have the authority to overrule Satya on some of that stuff? Because I think at the end of the day, Satya, if there are things where I feel like Satya needs to be told no sometimes. So is what it is.
Right. Well,
Hmm.
because it's kind of the
Hmm.
dovetail into this thing of, you mentioned exclusivity, and Circana I think put out they said, hey, in their survey of U.S. gamers, 41% of the respondents said that they chose the place to play because of exclusives. And then I think like the next highest one was 30%, whereas like, hey, we're friends and family play or whatever. So the number one deciding factor, I guess, is exclusivity, which Xbox no longer has. But then I looked at the thing from last year when they did the same thing, and it was 49%. So like it declined 8%, but I don't really think that's, you could make like an argument, well, like that shows like the, where the world's moving and into more of a multi-platform approach. But we've definitely seen PlayStation has kind of seemed like they're embracing multi-platform, and it seems like they're moving away from it with their PC releases. And there's still a large contingent of people hoping that Xbox exclusives come back. You keep on hearing things about Gears E-Day. And to be fair, I mean, Forza Horizon 6 is an exclusive, probably for a few months. But that, I think, has more to do with the fact that the port wasn't just going to be ready, and maybe they just didn't want to delay the game because of it. So it's like maybe something similar could happen with that. But the reason you bring it up again is because the question has to be asked about, does Xbox need PlayStation? Because Alenia Analytics put out what would you call this, Jez? They put out a list of like games, Xbox games, and what they've sold on PlayStation, and then the revenue getting from. And this caused a lot of discussion about whether or not does Xbox really need to put their games on PlayStation? Are they really getting the revenue required to offset the damage to the brand? Like the essential, is the juice worth the squeeze? So this doesn't include Call of Duty, because I would imagine that would completely skew the whole thing, right? The revenue made from that. So there has said the Xbox games that have sold more than 100,000 on PlayStation. And this is estimates from them. But it's funny because I always see people like, they'll accept anything like from this stuff as like gospel. Like, okay, this is true. I do see some people being like, well, it's estimates, so none of it's true. But it does sound like at least the Forza Horizon 5 stuff is pretty close to what like the devs have said themselves. So I guess it's one of those things where you take it with a grain of salt, but we'll use it for discussion purposes and hypotheticals, right? So Forza Horizon 5 has sold 5.8 million copies on PlayStation, which is a massive success. Sea of Thieves has sold 2.7 million, which I also think is a very massive success. Oblivion Remastered, 1.2 million. I think that's pretty good. Grounded, 770,000. I think that's a pretty big success if you ask me for Grounded. Gears of War Reloaded, 684K. Now that's a lot more than what I had thought. And it eclipsed Doom and Indiana Jones. So I would have to say, is Gears of War Reloaded a success on PlayStation, or were Doom and Indiana Jones soft? Because Doom the Dark Ages, they have it listed here as 567K, and Indiana Jones, which was a late port, did 537K. So I don't necessarily know if Gears Reloaded is like that big of a success, or if just Doom the Dark Ages was just kind of, the result was middling. You know what I mean, Jez? Like I feel like Doom should have did more. Ninja Gaiden 4 did 262,000. I don't think that's really good. Flight Sim did 252. I mean, I guess that's good for Flight Sim. I don't know what the baseline is for a Flight Sim game. Starfield has done 200,000, which, I mean, it's 3 years later. I would say that's not great. Age of Empires 2 did 173K. Outer Worlds 2 did 163K. I'd say that's pretty bad. And Age of Mythology...
Age of Empires did better than Outer Worlds on console?
That's what it says there. Age of Empires 2 did 173K, and Outer Worlds 2 did 163, and Age of Mythology did 123.
So, I find it hard to believe that Age of Empires 2 on console...
Bro, Outer Worlds 2
did better.
People did not seem to care about Outer Worlds 2 whatsoever. I mean, it looked like, I mean, just Ninja Gaiden 4 doubled that up. So yeah, and they have listed here gross revenue generated by these games on PlayStation, including Sony's revenue cut, is 667 million. Including their cut, and their cut's obviously 30%. So, if you take away Sony's cut, which is 30%, that's what? 18 million? So like 20 million? No, 200 million, right? So you're down to like 460 million for Xbox. So the question becomes, is this all worth it? Is the money that you selling your games on PlayStation and making $450 million after Sony's cut worth it for the damage you've done to Xbox hardware revenue, to Xbox content and services all going down? Is this something where you look at and you're like, we fucked up and we shouldn't have done this and we need to revisit exclusivity? Like, is an extra 567,000 copies of Doom worth it? Or would it have been better served to only release on Xbox and PC and drive people to your storefronts to spend money and engage with you, especially if your North Star now is what, daily active users and not monthly active users? It's like, are these figures enough? I mean, granted, Forza Horizon 5, you can't discount that. That's a lot. That's a lot of cheese. But I don't know.
Cheese.
I kind of look at some of these and I'm just like, no, I don't really think so. But then you wonder, like, how, when they're looking at the numbers and they're looking at their accountants and they're running the numbers about how much it costs to run these studios, and then how much money you're leaving on the table but not releasing it on the larger platforms like Switch 2 or PlayStation, what's the trade-off? Like, I sort of wonder. I would love to be a fly in the wall to discussions about the exclusivity aspect of it. And I don't know how that's going to play out. Like, I think they'll return to some form of it, but I don't necessarily know if it'll be the full slate that what people want, where they want like everything to be exclusive, or at least because I think that's what it would take. Because if you're trying to, I don't know, change people's minds, number one, you need, like, you're going to have to market Xbox like you've never marketed it before. Like, that's where you're going to have to change people's perceptions, is through marketing. But then you also have to back that up with the games and back it up with, like, hey, you can only get this stuff here. You can only get Fallout 5 on Xbox. You can only get Elder Scrolls 6 on Xbox. Like, you'd have to bite the bullet on those big games. Like, is Ninja Gaiden 4 like a system seller? Probably not. But is Ninja Gaiden 4 a system seller alongside 20 other games that are exclusive to your thing? Potentially. But
well, that's what I was saying. Like, in my opinion, like, you were asking me what they would need to do to chase away the remnants of my cynicism, is make a big gesture like that. Like, you want to play the Elder Scrolls, you got to play it on one of our platforms. You want to play Fallout 5, you got to play it on one of our platforms. That's the kind of investment in their own ecosystem, which would make me think, oh, they're actually really serious about this. And me saying that is, I personally don't give a shit if the game's exclusive or not. But it's kind of like,
you want the chaos. Like, I want the chaos.
No, I don't even want the chaos. I just think, like,
would be great. I love it.
The chaos will be funny, but I don't care so much about the chaos. Like, for me, I just don't see how you have a platform without exclusive content. If you could do that, then great. But I don't think you can. I just don't know how you do it. It just doesn't seem. If there's an alternative way to make Xbox viable as a platform without exclusive games, then fantastic. But Nintendo has exclusive games, PlayStation has exclusive games, even Steam has exclusive games. How do you answer that? Like, how do you answer that? Like, I seriously don't know. And maybe they know better than me. Maybe you guys in chat know better. Maybe there is a way of doing it. I don't know what it is. If I did know, maybe I'd have a serious job doing something in that industry. But I can't see it, man. So I think for me to really prove they're serious about their own ecosystem, they have to bite that bullet and just be like, this is the cost of competing. This is the cost of having a platform. You need some kind of exclusive content. As long as the others are doing it, you've got to do it as well. And Satya himself said it in the court case.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like exclusives, but we do it because PlayStation does it. And you tried not doing it, and look how that's worked out for you, lad. I don't know.
It's definitely something to, like we said, they've talked about, and I'm very curious about. It would really show a big commitment if they actually were like. It's one thing to have a game like, I don't know, Outer Worlds 2 exclusive, and completely another thing about having a game like Forza Horizon 6 being exclusive, because I think Forza brings people, well, like Outer Worlds 2 or whatever, it's like kind of like but yeah, that's the part that for a lot of people it's hard to get over, is like the money, because now you can see the money that you've made and the copies that Xbox has sold, and it's not even including Switch, because I would imagine a Forza Horizon 5 on Switch or Forza Horizon 6 on Switch would probably also sell extremely well. Like, this is just one platform, not even including Nintendo's, because they didn't get dev kits. So like, you're looking at even more copies sold. And it's like kind of what we said, I don't know, when Asha kind of took over. Like, what's your overarching goal? Are you looking to be a publisher, or are you looking to be a platform? Because it kind of seems like you can be one, but you really can't like be the other. You're all in on one or the other. And if you want to be a publisher and you want to just whatever, and it's like, yeah, then your platform's going to suffer. But if you want to be a platform, it's like, yeah, your games aren't going to make as much because they're just not in as many places, right? So what's the solution?
For me, it's become like an issue more than ever, I think, in a way, because there was been a little detail this week about Steam. A little detail. Steam released a controller, the Steam controller.
$100, right?
$100. That's not the headline for me.
Okay.
The headline for me is that it doesn't support X input. It doesn't support the Xbox input API, unlike every other PC controller on Earth. So this is Steam being like, they've made a controller exclusive to their ecosystem because Steam wants to compete with Xbox and Windows as an ecosystem, and you're sitting there thinking like, Xbox is about to help Steam reach a whole new audience. Meanwhile, Steam won't even let Xbox use its fucking controller, And then you look at Sony too. Like, Xbox is giving Sony all this great content, and what's Xbox getting in return? Scraps. They're getting scraps in return. Do you think Steam's ever going to put Deadlock on Xbox? No. And like, the chance of them putting Deadlock on Xbox is even lower in a universe where Xbox actually has Steam. Like, why is Microsoft so eager to give away all the ecosystem juice that it has? It's sacrificed everything in mobile, and it's caused them so many problems. They're not going to compete in AI. They're not going to compete in on mobile, generally speaking. They have to go through Apple and Google for absolutely everything and suck up to them, because they sacrificed all that shit. And now they want to make the same mistake with PC and PlayStation and all the rest of it. It's madness to me, bro. It's madness. I think these platforms are really out to take advantage of the situation, and I think they'll make a huge mistake if they go so hard towards actively encouraging people to leave their ecosystem. They'll end up with no control left. There'll be a publisher who makes games, and which is great, but since when did Microsoft want to be a publisher of video games? They've always been a platform company. You know, I don't feel like you buy Call of Duty with the mindset of, oh, we want to be the publisher of Call of Duty. That's so strange to me. You know, it really feels like they've tried to have their cake and eat it, and they've been unable to do this because it's actually impossible to have your cake and eat it, bro. It's not possible. You know?
Hey, I'd like
But
to have my
hey-ho.
cake and eat it too. I mean, what's the point of having a cake if I can't eat it?
Yeah, but then once you've eaten it, you don't have it anymore. It's gone.
I know.
It's gone, bro. And that's the
Yeah,
problem.
I mean, it's all. I don't know what they're gonna do. If I had to guess, if I had to put money on, I would say that there's some form of exclusivity coming back, but it's not gonna be what people want. I don't like. It'll be. I don't know. Maybe 3 to 6 months like windows where there's some form of like, hey, if you want to play, I don't know, Blade, you can play it, and then you have if you want to play it on Switch or PlayStation, you got to wait like 3 to 6 months or something. Like I think they'll compromise by having the windows be short because they still want the revenue, but they still also want the perks of having the platform of like we want people to come here because clearly like that's an issue. And it's like, how else do you sell the next generation Xbox? Like, yeah, the hardcore Xbox fans will get it, but who's it really going to appeal to outside of this? If you don't, I mean, if you have like, if you look at these reports from Sakana about like why people choose the systems they play on, it's for exclusivity. And you look at, you know, Xbox, like who would have none. So outside of the hardcore, who'd buy it? Now you do have people say, well, how come the best selling games every single year are the games that aren't exclusive? And it's like, well, those games are also everywhere. It's pretty tough for exclusive game to become. But I also, you could make the argument that people choose where to buy. People choose where to play based on exclusives, right? And then they buy the games that the third party games on that platform. And since those are, you know, more prevalent, they show up more. So it's like someone, you know, I mean, let's be honest. I bought an Xbox because of Halo. So I buy an Xbox because of Halo, but then I also buy all my third-party games there, you know? So
I bought an Xbox because it was cheap.
well, yeah, I mean, there's that. There's price and stuff, but absolutely. I mean, I bought my PlayStation 4 and 5 because I wanted the games that I can only get there. It just doesn't necessarily always show up in the sales charts because those third-party games are massive, but that's kind of how it is. And, you know, you look at Helix and it's like, well, if there's no exclusives, you know, how many of these are we actually going to sell? People do make their purchasing decisions based off of such, you know, things. So, yeah, they definitely have their choices and things ahead of them. What they should do is entirely, I don't know, like to really make a difference, they'd have to go like full exclusivity on everything. But like I don't think you can go full exclusive on Forza at this point anymore, right? I mean they should. Like if you were to ask me, I'd be like, no, Forza, right? Like I don't know how strong any of these contracts are with these companies. Like Forza Horizon 6 is coming to PlayStation or Fable. Like if I was in charge and you know, whatever, yeah, I would cancel the PlayStation version of Fable. I'd cancel the PlayStation version of Forza Horizon 6. I would fight for being like, all the games that we're making are all just Xbox and PC. And we're going to live or die based off of that. You know? But I don't know, like, is it possible to be like, well, even though the Forza Horizon 6 version of the game's already announced for PlayStation, can we actually cancel that? I mean, there's probably a way you could do so. But then again, I'm not running the business, and I don't have to worry about their expenses, and I don't have shareholders in Satya I have to answer to, right? That probably changes things where you're sitting there being like, shit, well, I gotta get an ROI, and I'm gonna have Satya and Amy Hood call me and be like, why'd you do this? But it's like, but if the whole mission statement, which Asha talked about, is like we need players, right? It's like where else are you gonna get these players? Like, they're not just, you just can't just, they don't fall off trees. If you're continuing down the path, like, I don't know, if you wanted to continue down the path that Xbox was going down, you just would have kept Sarah Bond as the president. Clearly, they didn't like that future, and things went wrong. So Phil retires, and Sarah's passed over for somebody else. Somebody else has experience building platforms, like you meant, like, you know, Instacart and all those other places, like acquiring people. So it's like, but how are you going to acquire people in the gaming industry at this point? I know you mentioned, like, well, you need to appeal to young people. You need to get like Gen X or Gen Alpha involved, and
Gen X,
but it's
they're old.
well, yeah, Gen Alpha involved and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, well, how are they going to do that? There's like any sort of software that you would have to make that would appeal to that are probably years away at that point, especially if you're implementing it like right then and there. I don't know. She definitely has she definitely has her hands full with everything, because there's the expectations of the fan base who see the signs about exclusivity and like see people talking about it and are being like, well, you look at the Alina analytics report and you see like, well, you only really made $450 million. Is that actually worth it? You know, look how many people you drove away from Xbox with these decisions about you know, so it's like there's that aspect of the weight of expectations from your hardcore fans, but then there's the industry itself and the direction it's going in, and you just happen to be, you know, you're behind PlayStation, Nintendo, in some of the aspects. I mean, in other aspects, you probably are ahead, because like you definitely have more daily active users than PlayStation or Nintendo. But then how much of that is because of your acquisition of Activision? So that includes Candy Crush and some of these other things that aren't really integrated into the overall Xbox stuff. So you have to manage fan expectations. And let's be honest, fans can be, what's the right word I want? What's the right word I want to describe? Fans can be fickle. Because one day they're calling you Empress Asha, and the next day they be calling for your job if you don't do the things that you know they want you to do, right? Like if you come out and you say, hey, we got exclusivity on everything, and everything's at least a minimum of 1 year, if not 2, then the fans will love you no matter what, because that's the one thing that's kind of they've been asking for. So you're Empress Asha. But then if you don't, and if everything's not exclusive, and if you maybe the exclusivity is only 2 or 3 months, then you sort of failed, and your whole, you know what I mean? Like there's the weight of expectations on that, but then there's also the weight of Satya and the shareholders. So you gotta balance those two and provide the best return, and you got to worry about, you know, are we trending in the right direction revenue wise and all these sort of things. And I would not want to be in her shoes, because
no,
like the perception
she's
of
got
Xbox
an incredibly tough job.
Yeah, the perception of Xbox has been the last, you know, I mean, since the Xbox One, the perception was it was a joke and it didn't have any games. And then suddenly they bought the publishers, and it was like, wow, maybe they're making a comeback. And then, you know, we're back here where it was like they don't give a shit. Like they raise the price of the console, they raise the price of Game Pass, and they do all these things, and people like legitimately hated it. And how could you get past that? And it's like she's got a work cut out for her, because Xbox was moving in one direction, and I don't know like if she can really has the power to just completely do a complete 180 and go in the opposite direction. But I mean, at least if you were grading her first 2 months out of the job, I'd probably give her an A. I mean, she's definitely exceeded what I thought she was going to do. She's definitely more open and transparent. She's provided more updates on the console than we've seen in years. Like,
she's more upbeat. She's got energy. She's got hunger and desire to make it work, and she's not bound by, I suppose, the defeatist attitude, the cynicism of the past. And she's someone who wants this to be a positive mark on her record. She's not someone who's like coming to retirement anytime soon.
No,
so
definitely not.
You know, but it's like you said, hard job. And they did mention in the the Microsoft financials that the thing the shareholders care about with regards to Xbox, they don't give a shit what Xbox does to get there. But the thing they care about is the accountability margin, I think they call it, which is basically what Xbox pays back to Microsoft in exchange for existing, you know.
Right.
So in order for Xbox to exist, they have to give Microsoft a cut of what they do, which is fair enough, you know. And they have to be profitable. Like no entity in Microsoft is unprofitable. Or at least like, you know, unless you're OpenAI, you're allowed to operate unprofitably in perpetuity. Apparently, man, that was quite difficult set of words to say all at once. But Microsoft's like the era of subsidizing Xbox is well and truly over. I mean, the 70 billion acquisition was a subsidy, and now it's like you got to deliver on that. But it's just it's not enough. It's just not enough. Like you can't just buy Call of Duty and then just be like, well, that's it. You got to actually manage what you've got. You've got to compete because there are so many other platforms out there that are out for blood. They're out for your blood. They're out for Xbox's blood, and they're out for your customers' blood, or at least they want them to bring their blood over to their, blood depository or whatever you want to call it. I don't know why this is all about blood. I've been playing too much Diablo. But point being, like,
Seems like it.
Xbox went from being this sort of like, we're buying Activision to compete, and Satya was all like arrogant in interviews, like, let us have competition, FTC, and then you've done fuck all to compete. You've done everything you possibly can to enhance your competition. You've given your competition revenue boosts. You've given them games. You've helped them in quarters when they otherwise wouldn't have had games. You've brought all the games to Steam and solidified Steam's de facto monopoly as a multi-entity storefront, and they've thought about it all the wrong way. You've handed all the keys away to your competitors, which is exactly what they did when they shut down the phone, and now they're trying to like almost do the same thing with Xbox. This is where the cynicism comes in. It's Satya that I think he's too short term. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't even Satya. Maybe it's the fucking board of directors, because there are people above Satya at the end of the day. But I don't know. I really need to see like what their strategy is to compete as a platform, before I think anyone should really celebrate. And I know it kind of sucks because, like I say, like I want to have fun. I want to celebrate. I want to think it's fun again and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think we're being truthful as an analyst, analytically speaking. I think we're not out of the woods yet. I think we're still deep in the woods, bro.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, you're gonna be in LA in June, right?
I'm indeed, and I'm trying to get some kind of interview on camera for Xbox Two dudes, Patreon, and also Windows Central. Um, uh, so every time I go to LA, I ask myself, is this the last time? Is this the last time I make it there? Because I don't know what's going to go in my career, my job, and all that kind of shit. I have no idea if I'll still have a job. I have no idea if I'll be in a situation where I can afford all the extra bits and pieces that come with it. But at least for now, we're going to LA for the Xbox show one more time, and we're going to BlizzCon as well
Ooh,
in
BlizzCon
September.
for the reveal of
So
StarCraft. Yes, yes, yes.
yes, we hope,
Dude, that
and maybe
trailer they
another
probably
Diablo
do for
expansion. Who knows?
StarCraft that's going to end the show at BlizzCon is probably going to be amazing. I can see it now.
Yeah.
The Blizzard cinematic. You know what's funny? What popped up in my timeline yesterday was the reveal trailer for Diablo 4
Oh really?
at BlizzCon. Yeah. I don't know.
That was incredible.
I don't know why it popped up, but it did. And I was like, then it got me thinking. I was like, man, BlizzCon this year, StarCraft reveal, the last thing. People are going to go crazy for that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be a shooter, so it's going to have massive appeal. It's going to have appeal for StarCraft like it's never had before. And God, if they announce an RTS as well, and like, because one of the things I think they really fucked up when they announced Diablo Immortal. They didn't announce Diablo 4. They didn't announce the fact they were working on Diablo 4. So they could have done, and if they had done, I think people would have been less pissed off. So I think there will be a section of the StarCraft fan base that would be disappointed it's not an RTS. But can you imagine like if they how excited the fan base would be after years of dormancy for that IP. Not only are you getting a shooter spin-off, but you're also getting the tried and tested true StarCraft 3 as well. Can you imagine? That's the dream, man.
StarCraft 3 would have
But
a lot of expectations on it, though,
it would have immense expectations.
which
But
I'm not even sure they could potentially live up to.
well, I think the RTS community is like they've kind of they've kind of coalesced around a few projects, haven't they? You've got like uh Age of Empires did really well. Like the whole esports event, like hundreds of thousands of viewers and stuff. Never would have thought that in a million years. You know, it's kind of funny. I was actually messaged by someone recently, a source, because I wrote an article about that Age of Empires event saying like, why was there no branding on that Age of Empires event? And someone DM'd me to explain why there was no branding on that Age of Empires event. Do you want to know why?
They forgot about it.
No, they did not forget about it.
What was their
It
reasoning?
was so there was going to be Xbox branding at the Age of Empires event. However, they had just signed a contract with Fanta for those Fanta promos, right?
Okay, so they put those up
And
instead.
Microsoft Legal was worried, apparently, that because Red Bull was sponsoring the Age of Empires event, that they would be in breach of contract with Fanta if they put Xbox branding on the Age of Empires event. So they pulled all that shit. They pulled all the Xbox branding because of the contract they'd signed with Fanta. So there you go. There's a little bit of journalism for you.
Of course,
Did
it's
not
legal.
expect that
Of
one.
course, it's legal.
Yeah, it's always legal.
So, like, what if the idea if there's Xbox branding somewhere, it also has to include the Fanta branding?
It's because it's Red Bull. It's like another competing
Oh,
drink.
okay. So it's like one of those
So
things where it's like, hey, we're with Surfshark, but we also then can't also rep NordVPN, right? Like
yeah,
kind of thing.
basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because another VPN company messaged me recently, and they were like, "We want to do a sponsorship with you guys." I didn't even tell. I don't think I told you
I
this,
know you
but yeah,
didn't.
another VPN company reached out. I was like, "Yeah, well, we're Surfshark at the moment, which is like your competitor, kind of." So I think, yeah, it was to do with Fanta, but yeah, you go. Random aside for you. But yeah, StarCraft 3, man, but I think just having a shooter would be great enough. But clearly, Microsoft's really happy about owning this kind of niche, the RTS niche, and there's still a passionate fan base out there for it. It's just like, the AAA budgeted RTS still kind of eludes the industry. If there's anyone who could bring it back, I would think it was Blizzard under the current regime and the investment that Blizzard's had to really, you know, win the fans back. Because Blizzard's been going through this too, man. Blizzard's been going through this whole we need to win the fans back thing as well. Like with Diablo, with Overwatch, like, Overwatch was the lowest rated game on Steam when it launched on Steam because of how angry people were at Blizzard. And Blizzard's had this whole. I mean, it's hardly been perfect. I mean, Blizzard did just announce $75 cosmetics for the housing stuff in World of Warcraft, which the
Ugh.
community is not happy about. So yeah, it's hardly been smooth sailing for Blizzard, but they're in a damn sight better position than they have been like a few years ago with lawsuits, under Kotick and all the rest of it. So, it's in theory, Microsoft Gaming, which no longer
It
exists,
would no
but
longer
just
exist, and everybody
we
has
don't use that
Xbox
term.
emails now, right? Isn't that a
Everyone has
little...
Xbox emails again, yeah. So we are Xbox. The division is Xbox now. We're not Microsoft Gaming, thank God. Small gesture, but
But yeah, but
it's
it
got
was never
it's
really
symbolic.
Microsoft Gaming though. That just kind of seems like a nobody really called it Microsoft Gaming, right? It was always Xbox.
Well, I was told that the Microsoft Gaming entity was a temporary legal thing that they set up specifically to facilitate the Activision Blizzard acquisition.
Oh, okay,
You know,
so more legal
so
stuff.
it's more legal stuff. So it was to do with that. But yeah, symbolically, I think it has important
Sure,
meaning symbolically. I think.
sure.
Um, in any case, it does seem like Xbox should have a good year this year. They've got a showcase. They've got the Four Horsemen. They've
Yeah.
got a big BlizzCon coming up. There's
GTA is
they should have a good
releasing.
year.
Like it's
GTA is
it's a
releasing.
massive year. And then like
There's a huge amount of potential. It's just like, can you execute on all this?
the
Can you
showcase
not step on
itself,
a rake?
like this showcase, the 25th anniversary, right? Like the showcase itself, like
Yep.
with Asha's first like kind of foray into the showcase and the things that they could do. I mean,
Do you think she'll present?
do I think she'll show up in video? Yes.
But not actually on stage.
Well, I mean, they don't
Are
technically
they doing a
do.
stage
I
show?
mean, they do. I mean, they don't do stages anymore. Well, it's not like it's live, but yeah, I think
Oh, yeah.
she'll. I think she'll intro. I mean, she's been very outspoken on social media, so I don't
Yeah.
see why they would suddenly hide her at the showcase.
Yeah.
Like when they film it, right? I would imagine Asha will be there. I would imagine Matt Booty will have a segment. Maybe that's it, because it was always Phil, Sarah, and Matt. And when Pete Hines was there, it was like Phil, Sarah, Matt, Pete Hines. Because Pete Hines would introduce like the Bethesda stuff, which just always happened to be only Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, just when he was there. And then, he left, so it was just, Phil, Sarah, and Matt. But no, Phil and Sarah are gone. So yeah, I would imagine Asha. It'd be one of the things if like, does Asha show up at the start? Or does Asha show up at the end? I mean, this is like her chance to make her stamp on Xbox, because the people are going to be tuned in to watch, right? As they always are, and not many people know who she is or the things she wants to do. So like they have, they need to show out at the showcase, and they need to it needs to kind of be the beginning of like the quote unquote new Xbox, or at least Xbox under Asha. I mean, you can make all the tweets that you want and have the updates and stuff, and it's like, but at some point, when all the eyes are on you, you're gonna have to be like, this is mine now. I'm very curious to see how this year's showcase is gonna pan out. And
Same.
But yeah, I wanted to talk to you briefly about Pragmata, because I finished it.
Nice.
And I really, 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 really liked the game, Jez. And like, I don't know, I just remember the original trailers and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But dude, this game completely just blew my expectations out of the water. I can't even remember the last time a game had done that, where my expectation, it's not that I had low expectations, but Pragmata was a game that I was kind of like, you hear, like, originally when you first heard about it, I was just like, oh, mini games and stuff, who knows about this? But man, I think I put 22 hours into it. I beat it, and man, like, ending's great. Everything is like, I really like the combat and the hacking. It all just like works together, and you can like kind of make some ridiculous builds with different weapons and different hacking stuff where you're just going crazy. And then you get like you unlock like New Game Plus. You unlock Unidentified Signal, which is kind of like an epilogue to the game. It's not even like an epilogue, but it's like something. It's like you unlock these like challenges, and then you can set it up where it will like give you like the real ending or like the extra ending. So I did that. So basically, like I started Unidentified Signal, which then I had to go through and I had to complete these 10 like VR challenges, because the game does have these like VR challenges in the game, which they're pretty easy for the most part. There was like 30 of them, but this is like 10 new ones. But then like to unlock 4 of them, you had to go and beat the bosses of the game again, but an upgraded version of the boss, so a harder one. So I like, okay, went and I beat the bosses again, did those VR missions, and then you get this like mod for your character, and it's like you gotta then equip that mod and then beat the final boss, and then you get like a extended ending. So
that sounds really cool.
It is cool.
Do you think it'll get an expansion?
DLC? I mean, they could put like more VR missions in there if they wanted to. You could have more story stuff if you want like a new area to explore.
Do you think it's going to be a pillar franchise for Capcom going forward? Maybe not pillar, but do you think it's going to be a franchise?
It sold what, 1
Or is it just
million
going
in
to be
2
like
days or
one of
whatever?
them? Yeah,
I
I think it's going to be.
it could be. I think there's definitely the possibility. And I think I told you before we started the show that, you know, when I'm looking at like my favorite games of the year so far, right? And how much I talked about Resident Evil. But man, I think I might have to put Pragmata over Resident Evil 9.
Damn, that's high praise, man.
Well,
That is high praise.
part of me is because Resident Evil is such a stalwart of a franchise, and it does what it set out to do extremely well, and I love that game. But Pragmata is just more, I don't know, it's like more exciting. It's like the uniqueness of it and how everything came together. To me it just look, it's
Fresh.
It's like
really
fresher. And I really liked Q and Diana, the two characters. There's a part of me that's just like, just based off some of those things I mentioned, the like uniqueness of it, I'm just like, I think I might have it over Resident Evil 9, because like it's the ninth, well, more than the ninth Resident Evil game, but like the blueprint's been made. You don't really have to, you know, you don't have to kind of move far away from it. Where, I don't know, man, Pragmata was just a breath of fresh air, and it just blew away my expectations in every way. Like, it was just, I get on and I play it and be like, 5 hours would go by, and I'm like, oh man, this is something. And it didn't outstay its welcome. Like, it's just the perfect length of like 12 to 14 hours, depending on how much you do. And they're constantly adding things. Like, they introduce the hacking mechanic. You get some guns. They introduce more guns. They introduce like more hacking things and different enemies and the different configurations of enemies that you fight. I mean, it's like you get in a room and you're going to get attacked, but I was like never bored a single time. I was always interested in what was going on. I mean, I guess you could maybe say the weakest part of the game is the story about like sort of what you're doing and why you're there. But I felt like the interactions between Hugh and Diana like kind of overcame the ridiculous of like the Capcom plots, right, of their games, right? Because Resident Evil plots are ridiculous, and like the plot of this is also, it's whatever. It gets the job done, but man, I had a blast with that game. As soon as I beat it, I started up, unidentified signal. I did that for like, took 3 hours to do. Is it worth it? Is the extra thing for the ending worth all that? I would say no. I would say it's probably better just searching out a video. But I mean, doing all the challenges was fun. They weren't really difficult, and there was a sense where I upgraded a lot of my weapons, so I was very powerful, and I had a way of hacking with heat that I really liked, so I was able to, like, the really tough enemies, man, I could crack them hard, kill them like pretty fast, and it was like, man, they really give you the tools to do all this stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna sit there. As of now, I probably have. It's tough because I also, like, how much I played Marathon, how much I like Marathon, right? I have like 260 hours in Marathon, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, am I really putting would I put Marathon as my number one game of the year, or would it be something like Pragmata? And I think I might. I don't know. Like, is Marathon my favorite game of the year so far? It might be. I mean, I certainly put the hours into it. But if specifically we're talking about Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata, I think I'm going to put Pragmata ahead of it. Like, that's how much I enjoyed it. And maybe it has to do with the fact that it blew my expectations away and it was unique, but yeah, I did play Resident Evil then 3 times though, but I only played, so it's like I always did find like the fun in some of the Resident Evils after you play through the game. Like, I'm going to do a speed run where I only, I I don't heal. I don't use guns. I just use you know what I mean? Like the kind of like the fun, or like, oh, now I'm gonna play in a hardest
And life.
difficulty with the rocket launcher. And now I'm just mowing down enemies and blowing them all up. And it's like you skip the cutscenes and you can get through that stuff so fast. And I always find those to be a lot of fun. But yeah, Pragmata's great.
I've been playing at the other end of the spectrum. You know, you've been playing like cinematic, big budget action game. I said I've been playing Diablo for review, but I've also been playing Vampire Crawlers on my Xbox Ally.
Yeah. So that's the new game from the people that made Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I'm surprised you didn't.
Oh
You
boy,
need to capture some footage. What
I will. I will. It
is
is
it good?
digital crack.
It
It
is.
is so good. It's
Yeah.
so addictive.
So does
Oh
so
man.
the Vampire Survivors, like, it actually lends well to a card game.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's got all the abilities from Vampire Survivors, like the book and the knife and the axe and all that kind of stuff. Now they're cards, you know. Um, and you can combo them together in new and unique ways, and there's just shitloads of stuff to unlock. And it's so satisfying when you pop off a combo with like the cards, and it's like, oh no, there's like axes flying all over the place and knives, and I won't go on about it too much, but it is just so addictive. That studio, they know how to make games that just feel good and are just simple and intuitive, but just feel really good. You know, and it looks like when you watch a video of it, it looks like, hey, this looks like it could be quite complicated, but it's just so intuitive. And you just pick up and play it, and then, oh shit, I've lost 3 or 4 hours of my life.
Mm.
Great. You know, so that's kind of the game I've been playing off on the side when I've not been reviewing Diablo 4. Yeah, man. I love that shit. I also you know, just while we're on the topic of the Xbox Ally, because one of the things that happened this week was a big Xbox Ally update, a range of Xbox Ally updates. They added auto super resolution, and Asha did say on Twitter that they're refocusing that AI efforts on things like auto super resolution and, you know, enhancing the user experience rather than, you know, just adding co-pilot chatbots to everything. They're actually like looking at this kind of thing now. Um, so the auto super resolution, also the docking experience when you actually dock the Xbox Ally to a TV, it actually now just works like it's a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck. Because beforehand, when you dock the Xbox Ally to a TV, all the Windows settings will pop up and it'd be like, you know, I've got to go into settings, I've got to go to display, I've got to change the resolution and do all this kind of management. Now it just works, which is fantastic. So, really great updates to the Xbox Ally there. And I was also like trying out Lies of P on the Xbox Ally because Lies of P seems to be one of the games Microsoft uses for testing the Xbox Ally. It's really well optimized on the Xbox Ally, and like it's been a good time, man. The Xbox Ally is like going in the right direction, I think. But did you also see the Xbox Ally got its price increase? The expected price increase. It is now $830 or $50, something like that, for the top end model.
Mm.
So the base model got cheaper because I guess they're trying to get rid of the stock. The high end model got more expensive, which is kind of crazy. I don't think it's worth $850, man. I don't think it is.
You don't think so?
I love the Ally, but can I recommend it for $850 with a straight face? I think I'd sooner recommend the other model, the base model. The base model, like $500, I think, or whatever it is now. I think what is it now? Let me just check. It's significantly cheaper, put it that way. Xbox Ally Asus. Xbox Ally. That's German website. Don't want the German website. I hate it when this happens. Where it's just like, oh, you're in Germany. You only want the German website, right?
Right,
No,
of course.
no, bitch. I want the American website. America. But I don't know. Asus ROG Ally price, United States. So yeah, $5.99 in United States. Well, the ROG Ally X is priced at $9.99. Wait, did I get them mixed up? I don't know. Yeah, so the Xbox Ally X released at $9.99, $1,000, and what am I getting it mixed up with? I'm not very good with numbers, guys. But yeah, anyways, it did get a price increase, and maybe I suppose it must be 1,100 now then. And the base model got a price decrease. I'm sure I saw it for $450 and stuff like that. So $450 for the base model, I think, is a much better value than the 1,000 plus whatever it is now for the top end model. Using it for remote play and cloud gaming and like 2D games like Vampire Crawlers, like that's kind of what I think a handheld. That's the much better experience for a handheld, I think. But I don't know.
Right. Hey, did you see this the PS5 DRM drama that happened?
I did indeed.
Man, people were
we wrote a
going
couple of
nuts
articles
over
about
this stuff. I mean, I was like, thought heavy transported to 2013. Like, what's going on here with this DRM shit? You know?
Yeah, DRM stuff.
Also,
it's weird because there seems to be some conflicting reports about how aggressive it actually is or isn't.
I don't think there's. I mean, Sony came out and actually gave a statement about it.
Sony denied it, didn't they?
Well, no. I mean, they said it exists, but it exists because of like refunds and stuff. So like, I think so it was like I forget what day it was, but they came out and then somebody was like, "Hey, there's the games you purchase after March have like a 30-day license, and if you don't, if like you take your system offline and it's past the 30 days, like you won't be able to play your game offline. You have to like log in and get the check, and then it sounded eerily similar to what the Xbox One wanted to do with their DRM strategy, which then Sony obviously mocked in their famous video, and was one of the reasons why the Xbox One generation was a big failure. And they basically were still paying paying off like all the things from that, like, and it seemed like, oh, like Sony's like, all right, well, and anybody gonna complain? And man, people were furious about this stuff. But then there were people being like, well, it can't be true. Sony would never do this to us and all these other things. And I guess it came out that this was due to like Sony's ROM keys getting like leaked. So they
that was one rumor. Yeah.
So they have a setup where they gave a statement to GameSpot saying players can continue to access and play their purchased games as usual. A one-time online check is required to confirm the game's license, after which no further check-ins are required. So something to do with
that's
that.
The denial.
Yeah.
Because like when Spawnwave did the testing, he was like, "Yeah, there does seem to be a license check here," and Sony's they're effectively denying it there, that there isn't, because I don't know off the top of my head if Xbox games require the initial check. When you set up an Xbox for the first time, it does require an initial connection to the internet. But after that, you're scot-free to use your offline games in perpetuity, which is how it probably should be, right? The Xbox One, the model they were going for back in the day, which made everyone mad, was a 24-hour check-in, which
was it 24 hours?
Crazy.
I didn't think it was 24 hours. Was it?
See,
24?
I didn't think it was 20. I didn't think it was 24 hours either, because that sounds insane.
I thought it was like a week. I want to say it was 7 days.
It was 24 hours. Initially, it was 24 hours. So I think like they did try and walk it back before walking it back completely or something, but the initial proposal was 24-hour check-in, and I think they did change it to a month or something down the line, and because people were like, hang on a sec, what if I haven't got an internet connection? And I remember there being interviews where they were like, oh, you can just, tether your phone, do checking on your phone. It's only kilobytes a day. Just do checking on your phone if you've got no fucking internet connection. It's just like, bro, I don't want to micromanage my fucking licenses. Like, it's a video game console. It's not a, you know, the management simulator. So yeah, it was it didn't last long because everyone rightly was pissed about it. But the point of the DRM was to, it was something that retailers had asked for. It was something that publishers had asked for to. Because remember, like, used games used to be a big deal back in the day, and publishers used to bitch all the time about, like, oh, used games are like destroying us and all this kind of stuff. So they wanted, like, to make it harder for used games to be a thing, and then on the positive end, potentially for us, was that we were going to be able to pool our Xbox game licenses with up to 10 family and friends, which is like what Steam does today. So Steam has its library sharing feature, which lets you share your library with 10 friends. And, there's Steam has infinite offline permissions as well, I think. But Steam still is DRM platform at the end of the day. I remember when Steam was first announced, people were pissed about that. Like, I remember Half-Life 2 requiring Steam. I remember
Mm-hmm.
people being pissed about that back in the day. And they were like, oh, what's this DRM? Even back then. And now it's like everyone thinks Steam is, the de facto way everything should be. And I library share my Steam library with a bunch of friends and family. I don't have 10 friends and family with which to share it. So it's kind of like, wow, that's very, very generous. Like, who are these people who've got 10 friends? Who the fuck are these people? But yeah, in any case, Sony introducing this was still reminiscent of those dark times for Xbox. But it's a very different market these days. People are used to being digital. People are used to being connected 24/7. So I did see a lot of Sony fanboys, the usual suspects, defending this, even though I feel like if the shoe was on the other foot, they absolutely would not be defending
Oh no, no, no.
Xbox for
Yeah, yeah.
doing it.
Like if it was Xbox, if
So
it came out, it was Xbox. Yeah, those same people would be trashing them. Of course.
yeah, exactly. So it does. There were some rumors that it was because a company called Limited Run Games had a data breach or something, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what one rumor I saw floating around, that the data breach resulted in Sony's, encryption keys being leaked, and people are jailbreaking their consoles at a jailbreaking their PlayStation 5s like at a more frequent clip than they were able to do so previously. So part of it is to do with that. Supposedly, this is a rumor. I don't know how true this is. PlayStation's not my beat, but either way, Sony was getting cooked for a while, and I think it's died off now because at the end of the day, I think the vast, vast, vast majority of people are going to have a 30-day check-in available for their console. But for me, it's like it's about. I don't personally care because, like I said, I'm almost certainly gonna have access to the internet within a month. But it's kind of like the principle, and it's about like future proofing. So, like, if there's a future where the PS5 is no longer supported, maybe when we get to like the PS8 or something, if the world's still here, if we get to the PS8, is Sony still going to support the PlayStation 5 DRM check-in system? And if they don't, then are all the games you've got installed, like, will they just become useless in that scenario? It's kind of like that's kind of what I think people are rightfully skeptical about when it comes to these kind of systems. But I don't know. It seems like the pushback wasn't strong enough to get Sony to relent, and it feels like people have already moved on from it. But if it was Xbox, people probably wouldn't have moved on from it by now. I think the media would be going crazy about it, extracting every click possible from it, and everyone would be using it as another example of Microsoft bad.
Yeah.
But alas,
Oh, digital. crazy. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's weird though. Like, I saw, I was like, well, it's like for a refund thing, or what do they said? Let me bring it back up here. It's like, players can continue to access and play their purchase games as usual. A one-time online check is required to further the game's license. But like, isn't don't aren't like if you're buying a digital game, you got to be online to purchase it in the first place. Like, so it's like, wouldn't that be the online check? Like you bought the game from their store and it downloads to your console. It's like, isn't what it? I don't know. Maybe there's something else I'm missing. But you know what I mean? Like if I'm on, like I bought Saros because I was gonna play that. It's like I needed to be online to buy Saros. So like, why does it need to do an online check? Is it me purchasing it from their store and downloading it to my console enough for the license, or is there some like window that has to happen or something? But it's like, shouldn't it be like, well, no, you already bought the game because you bought it from me. So I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
But I mean, it doesn't really matter because I don't play on PlayStation that often, and I don't replay games on PlayStation. So, but I do sort of wonder. There's one thing's like I feel like needs to happen is like we definitely do need more digital rights for things, and
Yeah,
like,
as physical. I would not be shocked if the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox Helix. I wouldn't be shocked if neither of them have a disc drive. But
well, I mean, yeah, for sure. I think we can. I don't want to say with 100% confidence, but if I had to put money on it, I don't think Xbox has a disk drive. I don't think Helix does.
Yeah.
So like.
Yeah, I don't think Helix
I don't know
does,
how they're gonna navigate.
Sure,
I don't know
wouldn't be
how they're gonna
surprised if
navigate.
neither of them did.
I really don't know how they're gonna navigate around the idea of like their fans with all these physical discs being like, oh well, sorry, keep your Xbox Series X, I guess. Because
That's
those
the way it used to be though, back in the day.
Well, I'm saying there are plenty of people that have, they love posting their walls of their physical games. And, Xbox has made back compat a big thing, right? Where you could put the game in.
Can't use my Wii games on Nintendo Switch.
Well, that's Nintendo. But I mean, Xbox and PlayStation has made back compat a bigger focus of their platform, right? Like PlayStation, they may not go back to PS3, but with the PS6, it'll play your PS4 and your PS5 games. And
can't even use my digital Wii games on Nintendo Switch.
Well, take it up with Nintendo. They get away with a lot of things.
Yeah, I did by not buying their shit.
Yeah, but you weren't gonna get the Switch 2 anyways, so that's just how it is. So yeah, I would like better like refund policies because it definitely like Steam seems to have a pretty good one, but there's a lot of things they can do. Like
in Europe, Europeans enjoy more rights with regard to this stuff already. But
yeah,
but you're right. I think like the ability to trade our digital items is absolutely something that should exist. I think the ability to easily share our digital items is absolutely something that should exist. There probably does need to be like a greater legislation with regards to some of this shit. But one thing that really pisses me off is like, because obviously I kind of live between two countries. I'm mostly in the UK, but when I'm in Germany, Netflix starts freaking out, and it's like, oh, you can't use your Netflix account in Germany. That's what are you doing? How dare you travel? How dare you do that? So it feels so anachronistic that everything has like all these region locks and all this kind of bullshit, which is why you should subscribe to Surfshark VPN using our code in the chat. But seriously, it is a load of bullshit. Like all this kind of stuff. I should be able to share my Xbox games, and hey, if Asha wants to, if Asha wants some low hanging fruits to have a big win, I suppose doing more stuff with regards to that should probably be on the cards. I do think publishers have a disproportionate amount of sway over stopping Xbox from doing that on Xbox. Because Steam was just like, yeah, if you want to publish on our platform, you've got to accept our family sharing policies, and EA, etc., had to bend the knee. But with Sony and PlayStation, like Sony and PlayStation wouldn't be able to force EA to do that. Just for example, maybe PlayStation would, but Xbox wouldn't because the EA would just be like, well, okay, then we're gonna prioritize PlayStation now, and you screw you guys. You know, how dare you help consumers? But Steam's just like, fuck it, we don't give a shit. Put your games on Steam or not, we don't care. You know, and if you do want to put it on Steam, you have to follow these policies, or you can go fuck yourself. You know, and EA comes groveling back to Steam, like they all do. All roads lead back to Steam, don't they? But yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Maybe at least like Asha could put pressure on EA by doing it for just Xbox's games or ID Xbox games. It's been like, yeah, we want to do it, but like EA are assholes and they won't let us do it with their games. But you know, with our games, we're gonna let you share them. You know, where's the Xbox Game Pass family plan, bro?
Where is it?
Etc. Etc.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, did I tell you about did I mention about like my bookshelf falling on me when I was sleeping? To you? Did I tell
Your
that
bookshelf
story?
fell on you?
So
No, you didn't.
So in my room I have this like at the very top of like above my door I have this board that runs across the entire width of my room, right? And on top of it I have a lot of books. Usually a lot of like finished books. So I put them up there. So it's like how big my room is. I got this big board above the door supported by, you know, like posts at, you know, intervals right holding it up. And so this was like last week. And so I'm sleeping. And all of a sudden I just hear like blue, blue, you know, like something smashing. And I wake up and the big board. So like I wake up and I look and like books are falling everywhere and then the big board is like coming off and it's like sliding right into me. About like bro, I was so scared, bro. Cuz like I'm in a dead sleep. And imagine like you just hear the loudest sounds you can hear and as soon as you wake up you have something coming at like your face. You have this gigantic, not gigantic, but this big board. So I'm like sitting there and all
you wake up and something's coming in your face.
Okay, I didn't.
Can't say that's happened to me before.
Yeah, you got this gigantic like board,
gigantic thing coming in your face.
Jez, why you gotta turn it to such dirty things? You know.
This is the family show.
Well.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
Unbelievable.
That's what I heard you say initially. I was like, wait, did Rand really just say that? Oh, okay.
Wow, I shouldn't even tell stories anymore. Unbelievable. This is how you treat
me?
You know,
this is like one of the benefits of digital, right? If you were 100% digital books, sure, you wouldn't have to worry about fucking bookshelf falling on your head.
But I can't read digital books though, so.
Well, you can't read a Kindle?
No, I can't.
What's wrong with the Kindle, bro?
Because I can't get into it.
What do you mean you can't get into it? It's words on a page. Like
no, it's words on a screen. There's a difference.
No, there is not. There's not. There's no
difference. Absolutely is.
Chat, back me up
don't you tell. You can't tell me there's not a difference because Are
you one of these people who's like, I have to smell the paper?
No. I'm not one of those people. I'm just saying, holding a Kindle and reading it on like the screen makes it almost feel like emails, and I lose interest. I can't. It just doesn't. I need to have the book in my hand. I need to. I just can't do it on screen. My brain just is wired differently. I just can't. I've tried it because there is a say like Kindle, like the ebooks are cheaper. They take up less space. But anytime I've tried to read, I just can't get into the book. My mind starts to just wander. I just can't. It doesn't interest me. I don't know how else to really explain it, but it just. So no, there is a big difference between words on a page that you're holding and words on a screen of a device you're holding. There's a big difference.
Well, Amazon Kindle can't come on your face in the middle of the night.
Oh, you know what? I'm never sharing anything with you guys ever again. You're so mean. And you're so deviant that you would even think that. You're deviant.
Deviant?
Yeah. Only deviants
Damn.
would take what I said and turn it into the way you're thinking. You know, I almost died. I have all these books falling on top of me. I got this
Almost
gigantic board of
died.
it, and you're just trying to turn it into
Almost
some.
died.
Yeah, I almost died. And you know what? Like it was so scary. Like I try to open up, and this is what happens.
Fucking hell.
Unbelievable. You know what? We're ending the show. We're moving on to Patreon questions.
Oh no. That's brilliant.
We just got a super chat here from Don Derek. It says, Rand, what if they add free achievements to teams? I wouldn't care. There's so many games. There's so many like indie slop games that exist on the store to literally just sell you gamer score that it wouldn't matter if they're added to teams, because if I wanted to, I could probably get like 400,000 gamer score in 2 days. Like all that stuff is just it's dumb. I mean, I even read somewhere that Sony is actually taking a stand against it, and they've like eliminated like thousands of indie slop bullshit from their store, which I think is a step that Xbox needs to take, because some of these things aren't even like, they literally exist just to sell you gamer score. And you know, it's definitely I guess like a way to do it, but yeah, them having achievements in teams doesn't. Nobody would care. I was definitely would it.
I'm gonna shock you. Teams actually does have achievements. So
I mean, okay, yeah.
Because it's got the Microsoft casual games built in, like Solitaire, and Solitaire has achievements for Xbox Live. So technically, Microsoft Teams does have Xbox achievements. I think Microsoft Teams should have Xbox achievements, like more of them.
Yeah, Culture Origin says they need a Minecraft 2 as exclusive. Well, I mean, will they ever make a Minecraft 2? I don't know, but if they did, it
They
certainly
barely even
wouldn't
make
be.
a Minecraft 1. I do think it's pretty funny how like it's Minecraft bugs me, man. I feel like that how big the Minecraft IP is and how much money it makes, like the updates they drop are so like anemic, I want to say. Is that unfair? Like they're just lackluster, like compared to like the updates that a lot of other games get. This is like the biggest franchise in the world, and you're telling me like this is the best you can do? Like you've added a new cat model or some bullshit? I don't know. Maybe it's unfair, but I've never been impressed with Minecraft's updates. They need more, bigger, faster, shinier.
Nitram says, will Microsoft repeat its pattern of a strong Xbox showcase in June, followed by 3,000 layoffs in July at the fiscal year end? Love Asha to hate Asha. I mean, it's certainly a possibility. You know, new fiscal year starting. Certainly is something that could happen.
There is rumors going around about layoffs, new fiscal year. Like it happens every year to Microsoft about these rumors and these layoffs, but I think it's every other tech company's been doing layoffs like since forever. Realigning around artificial intelligence. You know, Meta just laid off, I want to say 8,000 people. Or was it? They just pulled out my ass. They laid off X thousands of people at Meta recently. Just kind of funny because a friend of mine just got a job there, like right as they were doing layoffs. So I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft did have layoffs on the horizon, which sucks, but you know, line goes up, doesn't it? Even we had layoffs this year, and I've never known Future to have layoffs. I lost my whole team. Don't you know?
Don't you know? Dead Planet says, how do you feel about the Spencer era in retrospect? I feel he didn't have the killer instinct, an underdog like Xbox needed to have. Peter Moore did. I feel like he had the killer instinct because it's one of the reasons why I feel like he was able to get like those publishers, Activision and Bethesda. But
I think definitely towards the end, I think Phil just like maybe I kind of get the impression that Phil didn't like the way the industry was going, and maybe he didn't know how to navigate out of it. The social media adjacency, all that kind of bullshit, the Roblox, the algorithms. It's not Phil's world, right? So I do feel like at least towards the end, maybe Phil didn't have the answers to the questions, but he definitely had a killer instinct. Like Phil competed his way up one of the most brutal corporate environments in American corporate history, which is Microsoft, and he not only came out on top, but he did so, without making. He made some enemies, but like, he's not universally hated by the entire industry. So I think that's pretty impressive in of itself, probably.
Good old Collinwood says, "You know what this means, Rand? You have too many books. You can never have too many books, Collinwood." And I do have a lot of books. But yeah, it pulled itself like one of the support things was like pulled off the wall. Yeah, it was very bad, very scary. I was very scared.
Oh,
As one would be, Jez, when you wake up and there's something. I'm not gonna say it because you're mean.
What were you reading? God.
Nah, I just have a lot of books. What can I say? Yeah, so we're gonna move on to some Patreon questions. If you want to support us directly, patreon.com/XB2, you can drop in your question, and we will definitely read it out. Surfshark.net/XB2 if you also want to support the show and protect yourself online with your privacy. Get the 86% off a 2-year deal. So let's see what the Xbox 2 universe has to say here, Jez. What do you think? What do we have here?
Sounds good to me.
We have good old Collinwood. He's back with the question. Happy Monday, Rain and Jez. All power to the workers. So this weekend, a new game launching on a platform is Busbound, a bus management simulator, which is apparently from a German studio. From what I see, it's being received generously. From observations of Jez partners, family, and friends, what does say about the German gaming psyche that simulations such as Busbound, Farming Simulator, Truck Simulator are enjoyable? What does these games scratch? What does these games scratch in a gamer? I've always wondered the same. Explain, Jez. Explain.
Dude, it's such a stereotype in Germany that workaholism is a big stereotype in Germany, and there's a further stereotype where it's like, you spend all day, as a bus driver during the day, and then when you get home, you relax by playing Bus Driver Simulator or something like that. It's such a German stereotype. But yeah, simulation games are just for whatever reason they're really big in Germany. You know, I don't know what that says about the German people, but there's probably a reason why their engineering is supposedly the best in the world. I wouldn't say that about their trains, though.
Yeah, I don't know about those simulator games. I don't know, like farming sim. I'm a farmer. I farm for real every day, but at night I'm just on the farming sim. I'm simming or like truck driving and stuff. I don't know. No idea.
I'll say this. I put quite a lot of hours into Supermarket Simulator recently.
Okay.
At the start of the year. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that game?
I mean, I did see that. You know what? Would you play a game if it was Podcast Simulator?
Podcast Simulator? Like Game Journalist Simulator? God. What would that look like?
I'm surprised a game like that hasn't already been made. We got Goggles Lenses, who says, "Hey guys, this kind of has to do with Sony's DRM. With being a PC, one thing of many that they have to figure out is online capabilities. Even with the console that never leaves the internet, I'm annoyed when my game becomes unplayable when my internet goes down. With there being consoles, PC, handhelds, being able to switch around is really good. You probably don't know about this. Rand B, the Xbox PC app lets you set one device as your offline device. If Helix is a PC, then they should expand on this and maybe have it not have a limit. For Game Pass, you would need to have some sort of limitation for it. What do you guys think they will do about this? I don't think they'll do anything about this. I think the licenses and stuff they have already that already works on the Series X and S and the Xbox One and the 360 are probably exactly how it'll work on the Helix. I don't think they'll change anything.
There is an issue with Helix being a PC, and this is an issue that Microsoft have identified. So this is like something that they're probably thinking about how to work through it. But the the idea of like, well, you only get, much like on Xbox, you only get one home Windows device. So you get a home Windows device and then a cloud Windows device. So like if you've got cloud licenses like for apps and shit like that, like Word, you can only use them offline on one PC. But if Helix is my PC and I set Helix as my offline PC, does that mean I'm not going to be able to use my Xbox Ally on the plane? That's a serious fucking problem. Because right now, Rand, I've got my Xbox Ally set as my offline Windows PC, so I can use it while traveling. But what if my internet was down and I wanted to use my laptop for some work or using an app or something like that?
Okay.
Now, my internet was down, then I probably couldn't work anyway, I suppose. But what if I wanted to play a game on my laptop, And I can't switch the license across because my internet's down. So now, like, I have to play on my Xbox Ally. What if my Xbox Ally's got no battery? Or what if it's broken or something? I don't fucking know. The whole sort of like offline entitlement thing gets more complicated when you add a PC into the mix. So I suppose like Microsoft needs to think of it like, okay, well, now you can have one offline handheld device, one offline PC for work, one offline PC for gaming. I think that's probably like what they need to the solution they need to end up with, but I don't know. Digital entitlement's getting messy for Microsoft with all this shit.
Nitram says, "Hey, Jez and Rand, love the podcast. In an earlier episode, Jez mentioned some of the games he was citing for in 2026. Fable, Warhammer, Diablo Expansion, 007, The Blooded Dawnwalker. Rand, what is your short list?" Okay, short list. So, I'm excited to play Saros, and it's here, so I'll be playing it this weekend. But moving forward from this, I'm really excited for 007. I saw some of the previews. I mean, I've seen some words like early game of the year contender thrown out. So it's, I don't know if you saw any of the previews, Jez, but people compare it to like Hitman meets Uncharted, like a little bit, like even some Splinter Cell thrown there. So I'm looking forward to 007. I'm looking forward to Forza Horizon 6. Looking forward to Fable. Looking forward to Gears E-Day. I am looking forward to Wolverine. GTA 6, obviously. What else is supposed to be coming out this year? I'd have to like look at a list of games, but those ones are the ones that kind of pop off the top of my head.
Is Hellraiser coming out this year?
I don't know. I mean, Control, I'm like a Remedy fanboy, so like Control does scratch that itch, even though I didn't really like the last showing of the game. I'm not sure how I feel about the melee like aspect of the game, but I do love me some Control and Remedy, so that's definitely up there. What are the big indie games supposed to be this year? Like Mixtape comes out next week, which I'm very interested in Mixtape because they made the Artful Escape, and I quite like that game. So I was like, I'm looking forward to playing Mixtape. I still got to get into Hades 2, but this is the games you're looking forward to. So yeah. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good year for games. For
a lot
sure.
of games. Expanse as well.
No, that's next year.
Or did you say that?
That's next year.
Oh, it's next year? Oh,
yeah.
No. Damn.
Shay Elephant says, "Happy Friday, Rand and Jez. Do you think the Xbox and Discord integration means that it will allow in-game voice and text chats from the Discord mobile app? So that Xbox players can talk to and type messages with players from other platforms in a multiplayer game. Thank you for the good show as always." What do you think about that? About the Discord and Xbox integration, Jez?
Doesn't it already do that?
So you can use Discord, and you can jump into like any like voice chat or like you can call somebody or whatever. You can't text, So so like when I play Marathon, cause one of my buddies plays on PC, we hop in our Discord. We just hop in the Discord voice channel and we just chat, right? But it doesn't show any of like the Discord's text channels, so you can't type anything. So I don't think so, honestly, because I'm trying to think like what game would really support that, where like the voiceover would be used by Discord, and then you could see. I don't know. It's I'm gonna say no, but I don't have any idea. It'd be interesting if they did, though. I guess. You know,
Yeah,
I used to use
that
Xbox.
integration will get deeper over time.
We used to always just use Xbox Party Chat, and now it's like I don't think I've used it ever since the Discord integration came out. Because what's the point? You know what I mean? Bilal says happy. Hey, happy weekend to you both. Jez, is it just me, or the Xbox Ally X and Xbox PC app has been slightly laggy recently? This seriously worries me for Helix. I hope they have enough time to make it really feel like a console.
Well, I thought like after this week's update, it was less laggy. One of the issues with the Xbox Ally is the initial load of the app. So like when you turn it on for the first time, and I'm someone who like I don't trust Windows hibernation and Windows sleep mode. They're like they've always been buggy. So like I don't use them. Like I fully turn off my device. That's another Windows issue they need to fix, is the hibernation stuff, because it never works properly. So I fully turn mine off, and when you boot it up for the first time, the Xbox app takes at least 2 to 3 minutes to fully get going. Once it's going, it's not so bad, but it still gets like these almost like rubber banding, where you're trying to navigate around the different icons and it'll rubber band. I will say this though, the Xbox app on PC runs a lot better. Like on a proper PC, like on my laptop, it runs fine. Like there's no issues, no lag. So like on Helix, which is going to be a more powerful system, I don't think we'd have those kind of issues, assuming the Xbox PC app is going to be the native experience. But increasingly, I think they're just going to throw it out the window. I think what we end up with on Helix will look more like the new Xbox cloud gaming interface, which is a lot more close to console, a lot more, what people expect when they on their TV. Whereas like the Xbox PC app is this sort of like it's built for purpose. It's supposed to be used on devices across different kind of platforms, PC platforms at the end of the day. It can do TV, but it's not great at it. Whereas I really think Xbox console needs to be it needs to be world class. So the Xbox PC app is not that today. It's not that experience. So I don't know. But it's something I'm investigating, how they're going to go about all that, because I don't think the Xbox PC app is... I just don't think it's workable, man. I don't know if it's the underlying tech, the code base, Electron or whatever. I don't know, but it's not good enough.
We got Super Redbeard says, "What games do you guys recommend from the OG Xbox and PS2 era? Just got a ROG Ally and want to play some classics." Interesting. Okay, well, from the OG Xbox and the PS2 era, let's see. I would go Knights of the Republic on the OG Xbox. Maybe Jade Empire if you want the BioWare game. PS2. Was Silent Hill 2 on the PS1 or PS2, Jez? I can't remember.
Silent Hill 2 was PS2, yeah.
Okay, Silent Hill 2, PS2.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid
2,
for sure.
3.
Yeah, what retro classics would you recommend? OG Xbox. Maybe like Ninja Gaiden Black.
I didn't play much of the OG Xbox, man.
What about play PS2? Any recommendations for that? I don't know, San Andreas
lots
or GTA 3?
Lots of games that were not on Xbox, like Shadow Hearts.
Shadow Hearts is a good one if you're
Uh,
looking for an RPG. Yeah, I love Shadow Hearts.
but it's not on Xbox.
Well, he says both. He
I
says
mean,
OG Xbox or PS2.
oh, PS2. I mean, there's the obvious ones, shit like, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evils, Silent Hills, those kind of games. If you are like looking to go more esoteric, like the Shadow Hearts JRPGs on PS2 are probably the most underrated and overlooked JRPGs in history. I want to say. So yeah, definitely check those out. Um, Solid Theory in chat says Psychonauts holds up. The Getaway,
Psychonauts. There's
Star
even
Wars
a
Jedi
rumor that
Academy.
Double Fine might be remaking Psychonauts.
I think that'd be cool. That isn't their next big project though, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be another project from Double Fine that's far bigger in scope and ambition than some of the stuff we're used to seeing from them, from what I understand.
Frosty says, "Hey guys, Jez, how come there isn't a native Xbox app for Mac OS or Linux? We know Apple and Google restrict third-party stores on iOS and Android, but Steam app is on Mac OS and Linux and fully functional. Sure, Mac OS isn't very important within the gaming market, but it's a growing ecosystem as Mac OS keeps eating away at Windows market share at around 17 to 18% of the global market share. Linux is also growing at a rapid pace in the gaming landscape. Should Xbox decouple the Xbox PC app and store from the Microsoft Store so they can get on another operating system? So they can get on other operating systems. Is that something Asha might consider now that the future of Xbox seems to be PC console hybrids? It's Xbox gaming now, no longer Microsoft gaming, and Asha said they want to be a global platform and where the world plays. At the very least, a native Xbox app on macOS and Linux could offer a great cloud and remote play experience on these systems instead of relying on browsers. Even PlayStation has an app on macOS.
I think no. I don't think that should bother, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I think Microsoft should help other platforms less. They purchased all this content and they're not using it to their advantage. So for me, I think it'd be a waste of resources. I would rather they put the resources of porting to macOS and Linux back into their existing platforms. Personally speaking, um, I think Steam. I think they won't be able to do even the slightest dent to Steam on those platforms, especially since Valve is doing more work on Linux than anyone, and macOS is like whatever. That's kind of how I feel like about it. No, I don't think they should do it. If you want to use cloud, the browser's there. At the end of the day, if Apple wanted to collaborate with Microsoft on this kind of stuff, they've had every opportunity. They have done everything in their power to hamstring Xbox's stuff on iOS. I don't think Microsoft should give them a penny.
Hmm.
I don't think Microsoft should do anything to help Mac, especially. Linux, maybe, but Mac, fuck Mac and fuck iOS. That's my... Tell us how you really feel. Nah, I don't think they should support Mac. But Battle.net, I think doesn't Battle.net have a native Mac client, so you can get some Xboxy kind of stuff through Battle.net, I suppose. But I don't think they should be supporting Apple in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. We have, let's see here. We have BHO Reviews. Says, hey guys, loved the work as usual. I have a funny story for you. My wife just saw the annual Patreon membership renewal charge and questioned what it was. I told her it's for the podcast I listen to. She said, isn't it for free? I told her since I listen to Xbox 2 religiously every week, it makes sense to donate for support just like we do for church. She immediately gave me a stare down like she isn't buying that excuse. Then she noted, wait, isn't that the podcast that recommended all the books for her son, especially Project Hail Mary? I said yes, and she was okay and left it alone. So Rand, thanks for all those book recommendations. It got me out of a battle I was probably going to lose. That's pretty awesome though. Like See, Jez, the book recommendations work. they actually have a tangible effect on the podcast and the Patreon stuff, huh?
Mm. Well,
You
I've always thought it'd be cool if you did like a book recommendation newsletter on the
book
on the Patreon.
recommendation newsletter.
I don't know. I've started doing a newsletter on the Patreon once a week. It'd be cool if you could do like Rand's book recommendations of the month on Patreon. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, but it's
Just
not
a
ever.
just a royal.
But just, I mean, I read a lot of books. It doesn't necessarily mean you like recommend every single book. Like, I read, I don't know, 6 books this past month. I don't know if I'd recommend any of them. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not
You could
saying
just tell people.
I'm not saying they weren't good, but I'm not sure I would be like, yeah, I'd recommend this one over, like the 20 other books I'd recommend ahead of it. You know what I mean? But yeah. PandaMan77 says, "Hey guys, I hope the week is going well. I'm very tempted, aka will most likely will buy the Steam console. While I believe in the direction of Xbox, I think Steam is just better right now for PC. The number one thing I used to love is Game Pass. Do you think there is any way that Xbox puts first party only on Game Pass for Steam? Steam has other companies do this, and I don't see why they wouldn't allow this. Hell, if they went a la carte, could they launch a similar type of service for first party games on PlayStation? Thanks, guys." I mean, I've always thought, like, why isn't there Game Pass on Steam for just Xbox's first party catalog?
I think that's what the first party Xbox Game Pass prototype they're working on. I think that's what that's for. I think that's what that's for down the line. One of the reasons why they have been unable to do a lot of the stuff they want to do with Game Pass, such as the family plan, is their contract with EA. So I think like the contract with EA Play is very long and it's very restrictive, and it's stopped a lot of stuff happening like the family plan, and it's probably stopped things like it launching on Steam, because EA Play is available on Steam separately as a separate entity, right? So I think like we probably could see Game Pass, the starter edition or whatever they're calling it, on Steam eventually, but the full whack kind of thing probably won't see that until either Microsoft can renegotiate contracts with EA and others, or EA exit stage left. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
Let's see. Silas says, "Happy Friday. Is there a skill you wish you had but don't? Like being an artist, a good DIY person, or a person that finishes video games?" Well, we know we know what Jez would want. I don't know. I've always been jealous of people, the people that can play the piano really well. Like, I wish I could play the piano. Not even like a musical instrument. Like, oh, I wish I could play guitar, or I wish I could sing, or like I always kind of like were jealous of people that could play the piano really well. I'd like to be able to do that. I'd also,
For me, sorry, go on.
there's another one. I also like drawing. Like, I can't draw for shit. I can't even draw a stick figure right. I don't have an artistic bone in my body. So I really, really wish I could draw. And I also wish, another thing, that I could whistle. I can't whistle. I've never been able to whistle.
You can't whistle?
I can't whistle. I wish I could whistle.
You can't whistle?
No, I can't. I can't whistle.
Holy.
So
Learning a lot about you this podcast.
There you go. What about you, Jez?
I wish I could sound produce. So I can sort of play guitar. I'm happy with my guitar playing skills. I can sort of sing-ish. I'm happy with that. And I'm happy, like, that's something I could happily, like, learn by myself. The thing that I really don't get is the sound production part of it. And you see this when I try and do the podcast and I have all these audio issues and stuff. I don't get it. It's kind of dumb, because I feel like this should be something that's simple to learn. But I've always really sucked at production. So like when I used to make music, my sound levels were always really bad. I really struggled to synchronize the audio when I was doing double track vocals and that kind of stuff. Like some of my songs, like, that I recorded, they'd probably sound a lot better if I had even the slightest bit of production skill and knowledge. So that's one thing I'd like to be better at. And I also do like drawing. I draw on things sometimes. I'm pretty bad at it, although I can draw a stick figure, unlike Rand. But like, I really struggle to wrap my head around portions and shading. So like, when I draw things, I usually draw monsters on purpose because monsters don't have to be in proportion, right? But it'd
No.
be nice if I could draw like, things that were in proportion, like humans. You know, every time I've tried to draw a human, they look kind of janky. So yeah, that'd be one of mine as well. It is a practice thing, I guess, but
Yeah,
it's crazy how well some people can just do all that shit.
for sure. Sick and Tired says, "Hi, men. Hope you're all doing well. Seeing the recent sales of Xbox games on PlayStation other than Forza and Sea of Thieves, it was pretty underwhelming. Starfield sold less than 200K and would have been lucky to cover the porting costs. I would imagine the porting costs weren't that extravagant for that game, but I get it. 200K for Starfield's not really a lot. But then again, it's also hasn't been a lot of time on there either, so the amount of brand damage the console has had for that little amount of sales should go down in textbooks right alongside the Xbox One launch. I'm not sure if it can recover from it, but looking forward to what they need to do, in my opinion. One, stop putting once exclusives on your opposition's platform. Start marketing the actual product to the general public. It's a consumer product, not a business one. The general public doesn't follow LinkedIn posts. And 3, make the console available and affordable. PS5 has had over 3 revisions to make it cheaper, while Xbox hasn't had one. Well, that's not true because the PS5 is also more expensive than when it came out. I mean, PS5 is like $650 now.
And they've also reduced the revision they did was to reduce the amount of storage space on it.
Yeah.
So,
On top of that, when you can't find one in the shops and the store systems are telling you Microsoft's getting on consoles, that doesn't equal sales. Do you guys think it can recover, and what do you think needs to happen? I mean, we sort of talked about that. I guess the question is it too late? I've seen that come up. Like, is it too late for Xbox to reverse course? Like, are they too far gone? And I don't think it's too late, although it is kind of like the hour is late, if you know what I mean, right? Like, there's whatever they do, they just need to be all in. Like, if you decide like, hey, we really need to drive people to our ecosystem, so we need exclusives, then those exclusives need to be meaningful and of like meaningful time. You can't be like, we're gonna have Elder Scrolls 6 be exclusive for 2 months, because that ain't gonna do shit, right? Like, you need to at least be, I would imagine, at least a year for a game. Like, a significant time where people decide to choose your platform over somebody else's. If you want to, like, hedge your bet and be like, well, we can't do a year because we're leaving too much money on there, we're only going to do 3 months, then, like I said, it's probably not enough. I mean, look at Indiana Jones was, 4 months? I don't know. Indiana Jones could have been a system seller if you kind of stacked it alongside other games that were really good. Where it'd be like, oh, Xbox has this. And it's not going to be like something that can happen overnight. And I think this is where maybe
they'd have to pick a strategy, and
this is where Jez's
like
cynicism comes from, because they could make the choice, but then it's like, do they follow through with it for as long as it needs to be to actually affect change? Because something like this would have to take a generation to really change things. It's not something that's going to change overnight. But that's the thing with Satya. It's like, are they going to allow them the 5 years or 10 years it would take to actually change things? Or is this going to be like, oh, you did it and you did it for a year and it didn't work, so let's change our strategy again? I think that's the part where people just look at it and be like, is Asha going to be allowed to do what she needs to do without interference from up high? Because it's not working. Because it didn't work in 6 months, therefore it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it's like, oh shit, well, we'll see. But is it possible? I think it's possible. Is it likely? I would say it's probably 50-50. But they have to give them time and the support and resources to be able to do it, and give them the runway to be able to it. You can't just be like, yeah, well, you had 1 year and nothing changed. It's like, no, this is going to take years. You know?
Yeah.
Let's see. We have John, who says, "Hey, Rand Jez, I wanted to ask about Asha's comments around Project Helix and the console possibly not having Steam or GOG. What is the point of moving to a Windows architecture for Project Helix if they aren't going to open up to other stores? Windows Store PC games are notorious for not running as well as Steam or GOG and often don't receive key updates at all. A pricey console with Windows PC games does not appeal to me at all, whereas an Xbox console that could also play my existing Steam and GOG and Epic games would, so I currently only have a Steam Deck, so it's not a very performative, and I could play my back catalog Xbox games plus access new games via Game Pass. What are your thoughts?"
I think at the end of the day, when it comes to if PC was the default, right, the games would be optimized. It wouldn't be like the way it is now, where the devs are like, "Oh well, we'll just dump the Steam build on Xbox PC and whatever," because you got to remember, it's not necessarily the platform that makes the games unoptimized. It's having to optimize for lots of different SKUs. So if the devs know that Helix is this architecture, they'll have a Helix build ready for the Xbox PC app. So that genuinely won't be an issue. I suppose like it really boils down to like whether or not Steam, etc., actually wants to compete with Microsoft on this point, and whether it's actually just what like we've talked about on this show before. Are you not just creating a Steam box in this scenario and actually like doing more damage to the platform, giving other people money, giving away your users to Steam? Because like it's kind of I think Colin Moriarty was pretty strong on this point, where he's like, if you're making an Xbox with Steam on it, yeah, great, you can have the PlayStation games, but aren't you just like, won't the PlayStation games just end up advertising Steam all up and then moving what few users you have left on Xbox to becoming Steam gamers as a whole? Are you not just leaning into the trend rather than competing against it? Are you not competing for those users, etc., etc., etc.? So I do think it's really worth them having a genuine rethink about whether or not it's actually a virtuous thing that they're doing here, or whether or not they're actually not just leaning into a trend in a defeatist kind of way. Because I personally think Steam's a bigger threat to Xbox in that universe than PlayStation is. I think Steam's a much bigger threat to Microsoft than PlayStation is. So, like I said earlier, the Steam controller doesn't support X input. That's because they want to compete with, Windows. They want people to move to Linux. They want people to move to Steam OS. They're competing directly with Windows itself. And because Steam has become so powerful and de facto, they can do that. And I think, like, as a community, we focus a lot on, like, PlayStation exclusivity, PlayStation multi-platform games, but maybe we should really start thinking about, like, should Microsoft even be putting its games on Steam? Should exclusivity actually mean all up our platforms only?
Well, honestly, I think
I don't think we're ready for that discussion.
I honestly think if you were to ask me, I think the PC Steam thing, that ship has sailed. They're not coming back from that. The PlayStation relationship is somewhat new. It's like, what, 2 years? 2 years old at this, and you haven't really put that many games there. You can pull back from that. I don't really think PC stuff hurt Xbox. And I mean, even Shuya Yoshida said like the PC stuff didn't hurt PlayStation, so
I don't believe that.
I mean, that's what he said. I don't feel like he has any reason to lie about it.
I'm not saying he's lying, but I mean, I think it hurt Xbox.
Maybe it did. I mean, but it's also maybe one of those things where they had to do it, at the time. Like, it's Xbox One generation, 2016. Is like, we could get all this extra revenue, and we don't think it's really going to hurt us. But
Steam OS and Proton compatibility layers
But I
and
mean,
all
that
that
was
shit.
also at that
That is
time they
hurting
probably
Windows.
weren't thinking about that 10 years down the road. But those are the consequences of your actions, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but specifically more about like Asha's comments and stuff. You also got to realize that this console was put into like Helix was greenlit by Phil and Sarah and stuff, and like their vision of the future of the storefronts and stuff. Asha, we don't even know if I mean, she was asked about that, and she said that was a previous administration, so she's kind of stuck with Helix because it's too late to cancel it or it's too late to change it into something else because then you got to start over, and then it's like probably another 3 or 4 years. So you just kind of got to make good with what you have. But it would be interesting to see if she could start over, like what would be her console or whatever. Would it be a PC? Would it include the other storefronts? You know, like, or is she looking at the data and like because her comments like you read and you're like, oh, are they maybe gonna walk back having the idea of like other storefronts on it? And you wonder if it's like if there's anything recent that's happened within like their business where they would be like, oh shit, like this isn't gonna work. And you know
But
what?
I think it would work. But I also think that I can't help but feel like they're sitting there thinking we're giving Steam too much power here. This could actually hurt Windows itself.
Maybe.
If Steam OS catches on, if there's like a Linux distro that's like really stable, really compatible with like apps and all that kind of stuff, Microsoft stands to lose their Windows monopoly. It's like gaming is like one of the only things that's holding people off from ditching Windows. Microsoft has created a universe where people are actively looking for alternatives to Windows, right? People are actively looking for alternatives to Windows because of how badly they've managed that shit. This is kind of like what you were saying last week about like for Xbox to come back, it would take them nailing everything and then Sony having a massive fuck up like Xbox did in 2013, right? That's kind of the situation Windows is in right now. Steam is on the up and up. Windows is cooked and it's vulnerable, you know. And you want to make a console that's basically a Steam box? It's kind of starting to look like it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But I want it because I'm a Steam user. But I'm just speaking analytically. Analytically speaking, from if I'm sat here and strategizing and trying to think like, oh, how should we work to make Windows better? Is supporting Steam OS the way to go? It doesn't seem like the smart choice to me. I don't fucking know, man. I think it's reductive. I think they're making a mistake. But what do I know, man? What do I know?
We got Pat Rock, who says, I asked this a few weeks ago. Rand was gone, but would like to revisit it since Asha mentioned wanting to stabilize Gen 9 and bring value back to Xbox. Should they refresh the Series S, making it smaller, figuring out how to make Auto SR work on it, even if it's a slight revision of the chip, pack in the refreshed Gen 10 controller, and subsidize or figure out how to bring it back to $29.90 or $299? Cancel the Series X and have Helix at 1,000-ish and an entry level S at $299. So you have a console at $299 and another console at 1,000.
I mean, I I don't think the plan is for Helix to be $1,000. First of all, I think they do want it to come in cheaper than that, but the essence of what Pat Rock's saying, I really like that actually. Like, if you are planning for a generation that still acknowledges the fact that gaming has become expensive, prohibitively expensive, to get younger people into the ecosystem, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea of making an even cheaper system that can run Roblox and whatever else, and like maybe can leverage cloud for the more high end stuff, to me that makes a ton of sense. Um, one of the issues with like not even having a cloud console at all right now is that they don't have like a thin OS. Like technically, the Xbox OS is the thin OS they would need to deliver that. So I actually really like that idea. I like the idea of an even cheaper Xbox Series S that is cloud first, but can also play some things natively. I think that makes a ton of sense, man. But will they do it? Probably
we're
not.
back to Hobart then, like making a cloud only system that's like a USB
Not
stick or
cloud
something,
only.
like $100 or whatever.
Nah, not cloud only. Like it'd be a Series S, so it'd run some games natively, and without the promise of being future proofed, because it would be getting long in the tooth at that point.
Let me ask you this
But
question: was the Series S a success? Like, just
you'd have to ask Microsoft that.
I'm asking you, what do you think? Did they internally view that as a success? A $299 machine, and like what they sold is what they sold. What I sort of wonder, like, did they go into this generation thinking that they were going to sell less than the previous generations with the system that was the cheapest on market and cheaper than even the previous generation? Because something tells me no, they weren't, and that it probably wasn't a success or not as successful as they wanted it to be. I mean, we've saw
maybe it was just too expensive.
$299 is too expensive.
Yep, for what it is. Maybe people are just like, well, if I'm spending that much money, because it's $299, it's not a no-brainer purchase.
Sure.
If I'm going to spend that much money, I might as well save a bit more and go full whack and get a PS5 or something.
Okay. Well,
but imagine if it was even cheaper, if it was $199.
Okay, so you saying you like what Pat Ross saying, but you need that, but that price needs to be $199 instead.
Yeah, it needs to be lower. It needs to be a no-brainer purchase. It needs to be.
Fuck it. Why not just go down to 99 then? You're all the way down to 199. Get it down to 99.
I think that's just not realistic.
Well, I mean, how realistic is it to get down to 149? 149.
149. Let's do 149. Yeah. Because how much was that next box or whatever it was, the kid console that came out last Christmas?
Isn't it $349?
Damn, that's a lot.
I will Google it right now. I want it. For some reason, it's $349.
I'm fighting.
You're not fighting Veximus, shit, bro. You're not fighting shit. What's this? I'm fighting
Veximus and a 14
what's
Mythic Plus key.
What am I searching for? What's the name of this?
I don't know what it's called.
You don't know what it's
Next box or something.
Next box.
I can't remember what it's called.
Next box games. Is this what it is? Next box.
NEX something. Next games.
Nextbox? Premium games for Android TV? Is this it?
Oh, fucking no, I don't know. I don't know, bro.
Next Playground?
I don't know. Yeah, that's what it's called. Next Playground. That's right, yeah.
Okay. Next Playground price. As of April 1st, 2026, the Next Playground Active Play system retails for $299. Console includes five pre-installed games with an optional Play Pass subscription required to unlock the full library of 50 games, priced at $49 for 3 months or $89 for 12 months.
Why the hell was that so popular?
I don't know. Its previous price was $249.
Well, okay, maybe what you need is, right, an even cheaper system which requires Game Pass. Maybe it requires Game Pass, like, it comes maybe that's the business model. Just copy that business model. It comes pre-installed with, I don't know, Call of Duty or something. And then, like, to unlock the rest of the games, you have to get Game Pass. Maybe that's the play. But also, it's cheaper than the next box. Or whatever it's called, the next Playground. Maybe that's the play, bro.
Maybe, I don't know. Trickster for Trey says, with Final Fantasy VII Part 3 not at the latest PlayStation show, I'm having huge hopium for a reveal of at the Xbox show. I'm sure it'll be a Games Fest, though. Thoughts?
What will? Sorry?
Final Fantasy 7 Part 3 remake.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be cool if it was at the Xbox show, definitely.
It would be cool. But I already sort of feel like they're going to be revealing Persona 6 at the Xbox show, so I don't know if they'll also be doing Final Fantasy 7. I could see Final Fantasy
Do
7
both.
I could see Final Fantasy 7 remake being at the Nintendo show, a Nintendo Direct.
Nah,
Nah, you don't think so?
nobody cares about Nintendo.
I could see it being there. Rave Damo says, "Gentlemen of the Xbox 2, rar. With rumors of a potential Xbox Netflix bundle on the horizon, could this be an Xbox Trojan horse for mobile? If Netflix integrates Xbox Cloud Gaming directly into its mobile app, similar to how they host their own mobile games on the app, does that provide a functional backdoor to get around Apple and Google's restrictive cloud gaming app policies? Clicking a Netflix game takes you to a listing of said game on the App Store. Could clicking an Xbox game take you to xbox.com/play instance of that game? Food for thought. Crack on, gents."
Oh fuck.
Is that what is this?
Hang on a sec.
What?
Hang on a sec. Just dealing with something.
What are you dealing with?
Right, there we go. Sorry, what was the question? It was
So basically, the potential Xbox Netflix bundle, could this be used as an Xbox Trojan horse for mobile? Like,
I mean,
it says clicking a Netflix game takes you to the listing of the said game on the App Store. Could clicking an Xbox game take you to xbox.com/play instance of that game?
the thing is, right, Apple doesn't apply its rules consistently. This is one of the things Epic Games was arguing about. They have like special deals. They have special deals with Netflix because Netflix is basically a monopoly. They have no choice. Like, can you imagine if you had an iPhone without Netflix? A lot of people might switch to Android. You know, you can't really do that. So Netflix has special rules, right? Microsoft isn't going to be able to get around a lot of these rules, and for whatever reason. And I think it's a nice thought, but I just think Apple would find a way to fuck with it. Like the fact that like we still haven't got like a lot of native apps on Microsoft stuff because of this. Even though like Epic won its court cases, like Microsoft still hasn't like the Xbox mobile store like still hasn't materialized. And I think like that is because Apple's still making it as hard as possible for companies like Microsoft to, you know, deliver a package on that system. So I think if Apple was playing by the rules and playing fair, then maybe yeah, it would be a good way of doing it. But I just don't see it. I don't see Apple allowing them to get away with that. And is Microsoft like willing to go to court like Epic? Like how much did Epic spend fighting its court cases? They spent an absolutely absurd amount of money, and Microsoft ain't about to do that, you know. So yeah, it's a nice thought, but I just can't see it, unfortunately.
Chris M says, "Hey guys, hope you're having a great start to your weekend so far. Perhaps I'm a bit cynical, but as there's all these talks about Game Pass going a la carte, I have to wonder if any part of that might be an effort to remonetize all the Xbox gamers who stacked up years of Game Pass at $19.99 a month. You've said in the past that major changes could lead to class action lawsuits, but if they go this a la carte model, could they credit everyone the $20 and let them build the Game Pass they want? And if they go over that prepaid $20, then they just have to pay the extra. Even if it's only a couple bucks a month, which I assume most would just pay to keep what they want, that's still an extra revenue from people who they wouldn't have otherwise monetized. And the general positivity that I suspect they'll be met with would likely stifle any serious backlash from said prepaid gamers. I'm curious your thoughts on this theory. Hope you guys have a great weekend." Interesting. I don't know. Well, one, we don't even know if the a la carte model is actually the model they're going to go after, right? It's just, I think you said, Jez, that you thought it would be. And we don't even know what that would look like, what would be included, what you could or couldn't get rid of, or what the pricing of it would be. I don't know how that would work, especially if you had people who still had 3 years of Game Pass at certain price points. Like, would they just be locked into the highest tier, you know? Could they get money back? I don't know. I have no idea how any of that would work. Do you, Jez? Have any idea how that would work?
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but I'm not sure how it would be handled. Let's see here. Anything else, Jez?
Make sure to refresh. Did Jay Foley get 2 questions in this week?
I did not see Jay Foley at all.
I did tell him to drop 2 questions, but
well, I'll go to the last thread.
What did he submit last week?
Hold on. Let me find last week's. I don't see him last week's either.
Huh.
Hold on. Oh. He wanted to know if you've heard anything more about updates to the dashboard.
Haven't yet. I suppose one of the things like people want to see is more achievement stuff, like platinum trophies and that kind of thing.
Yes.
Will we actually get that? It's remains to be seen. Like the old argument, like from Microsoft, was like, does this actually, enhance profitability in any way? It's gotta make money, right? But I don't know.
All right. Well, anyways, I think that's come to the end of the show. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe here on YouTube. If you're on Spotify or iTunes, leave us a review or a thumbs up or rate the show, like 5 stars or whatever. And yeah, check out our sponsor, surfshark.net or surfshark.com/XB2 for 86% off a 2-year deal. Protect yourself online in your internet privacy. Think about supporting us directly on patreon.com/XB2. Links are all in the description. We appreciate everybody who listening to this live or listening to this later. We love you all. And hopefully everybody has a great weekend. I'll be playing Marathon, doing some cryo. Probably also starting Saros. So looking forward to that. I don't know, Jez, what are you gonna be playing? World of Warcraft. Okay, yeah.
Diablo endgame. I really wanna figure out the endgame.
Okay.
But then I want to finish Pragmata off after all the hype you delivered for it. I've also been playing Tainted Grail a bit. That scrolls like. So maybe I'll play some more of that. Vampire Crawlers. Maybe some more of that. But yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, until next week, we'll be back. Stay tuned for maybe we might have a show on Tuesday. Patreon show, Xbox 2 Ultimate. But until then, hope everybody has a great weekend and keep it gaming. Later, guys.